which agus fáilte go focus pocus lack of focus, the very uneducational podcast that enters your mind like the rantings of three maniacal cult leaders. These rants may involve witchcraft, true crime, fake news, paranormality, and a load more shite talk you don't need to know. Today is a Dani episode, so of course there will be death, so much death. We will be talking about the Jonestown massacre. I'm Justy. I would have drank the Kool-Aid, not because I'm easily led, but because I'm fat and can't say no to sugar. I'm joined by known communist and writer of manifestos, the man that will be keeping you focused on your holy mission today. It's Oisin Byrne.
I'm happy with being a communist.
And our charismatic leader who is forcing us all to consume this content. The leader is good. The leader is best. We surrender our will to her giant chest. It's Dani Thomas.
I like that one. That was great. That was really good.
That was the worst intro reading I've ever done because I am very much so on drugs right now.
That's fine. You're very much on drugs and Monster as well. So
yes,
maybe it'll balance out when you crash and maybe
it's a drug with a legal drug.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Hi Vance, if anyone is wondering what I'm on right now, I am experimenting back with my ADHD meds, and there we go. I've mentioned ADHD already. I've also done a Simpsons quote already.
Drink.
I am very much so too hyper for this. So
yeah, is Alex making the new bingo card? Because I saw the old bingo card.
Yeah, I did. I'll say it to him to make a new one.
Yeah, because I think it's just going to be Oisin mentions traveling to a terrible place.
That's what it's going to be.
My one.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
It will absolutely be that. You've been to some terrible places. Recently in Helsinki, though, which I'm jealous of because
I went to Helsinki and Tallinn, which are not terrible. Yeah. Those are very beautiful places.
They looked
and that's what I'm saying.
But actually, in the spirit of how I go, like how me and my wife go on holidays, we did go to not one but two KGB museums.
Of course,
it was great. Yeah. It was so good.
Why wouldn't you? Like, I would want to do all the terrible stuff anywhere I go as well. That's just like I would do the dark tourist thing.
Some dark tourism. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would love that. We did an episode on McCamey Manor. Have you seen the dark tourist episode on that?
No.
Fucked up, like absolutely meant. So McCamey Manor is just basically like a haunted house kind of thing, but it's not really. Like it's essentially
haunted house is what it sells itself as. It's just a torture event,
right?
But yeah, basically, so he charges like a donation, so you don't have to like pay to do it, but you have to go through all of these like medical evaluations and stuff to make sure you're like fit to withstand it. So this guy used to be a Marine,
right?
And basically, you just donate like bags of dog food. He has like a bunch of dogs. Like, doesn't he have like a shelter? I think I can't really remember.
He said he was donating to a shelter, but people were like, "No, he's just feeding his own dogs with this."
Yes. So far, mixed signals. Yeah,
has
go on.
This massive house, and then just basically tortures people going through it. Like people,
for kicks, for fun.
Yeah, so you tap out, and that's the haunted house.
So it's kind of like a BDSM house.
And he films it, so people are like, it's like a weird kind of snuff thing that he's got going on. But
we did a whole episode on it. If you've got time, ladies and gentlemen, you should go back and listen to that one. Yeah, that was a fucked up one, but I would not like to do that, and Dani, either would you. So.
Oh no, I wouldn't. But like, I would like to. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like that's another kind of like dark touristy thing that it's like maybe I could go to the house and be like, that's where that happened.
People signed up for that, like thinking that it was.
Did I think it was like a sex thing, but it was more of a like just actual horrible
just
pain
like
thing.
How much can you withstand, like a survivor type thing.
It was billed as like a scary house, but it just kind of it turned out instead of like being like scary, it would get so psychological that like. But what he would do is like physically break you down before you tried to go in. So like. He'd assess you beforehand, and if you seem too mentally strong, he just wouldn't let you apply for it. Yeah, of course. And then when you got there, he would like physically have you like stand holding things for like hours on end, and then put you through like an assault
like stress positions and
more than that. Like
that was before you got into the house.
Waterboard you and
the waterboard would happen inside, like so all that stuff like would happen outside, then bring you in, and then he'd have like different rooms around the house with like actors, like, but like, you know, no one was dressed as a witch. Like it was guys.
It was just someone dressed in like the same outfit that they were playing golf in.
Well, no, like I think they were like dressed up as like crazy clowns and stuff.
Yeah.
but then they'd get you in and decide, like, if like revving a chainsaw beside your face made you laugh, then what they would do is he went and got a lot of information online. Why he done?
Yeah,
he
like
broke a
out in
marriage
affairs and
Yeah,
stuff.
he broke a marriage up.
Yeah,
and was like, haha, I psychologically broke you, but like
fuck this guy.
crazy.
really, he just told
Like-
a woman's husband that she was cheating on him.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, like showed all the messages on this big screen and everything, and like was like, I'm gonna send these to.
Yeah, that just sounds
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, terrible person.
You'd prefer to just just go to a haunted house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just go to a haunted house.
I mean, yeah, my horny ass could not last in a haunted house, though. I'll tell you that much. But anyway, so I couldn't deal with it. So, someone who is I can't say that this man was inherently always awful, because I don't think that he was.
He was, and
Jim
he was
Jones.
virtue signaling. But let's go. We can get in. We can get into this whole thing.
End of the podcast.
We can get into this whole thing.
Yeah, he was a son of a bitch. He was a son of a bitch from even when he was a kid.
Yeah. So this was originally 14 pages long. My notes.
It would be a 3-week episode.
I know.
I'm just gonna say this. When I went to, like, my normal way of doing things is like listen to a couple of podcasts that might have like some like come at stuff from different angles. So like I go down the route of like I listen to a factual one. I'm going to listen to someone like a true crime kind of a one that they try and sensationalize it a little bit. And I'll listen to a conspiracy kind of a one as well.
Where they say, actually, he was good and handsome.
Do you know what? The funny thing was, there was a lot of
Not bad looking.
there was a lot of actually this kind of stuff. And to be honest with you, I was kind of listening and being like, this guy might have got me on board, like, because of, you know, like,
oh yeah,
politically,
Like the cut of his jib.
politically, he what like the stuff he was coming out with was like
Very progressive.
so
Yeah.
progressive.
Yeah.
But it's like but the funny thing is there's so much on this. We'll obviously get into it, folks. We haven't even explained what we're talking about yet. But on the conspiracy side of things, this one has more fucking threads than the fucking Bayeux tapestry. It just seems to be just so.
There's a lot of elements.
Like if you were to believe one, it's gonna send you down a fucking rabbit hole that will lead you to another rabbit hole. It's so like there's so much kind of in this that could tie up so many different conspiracies, but none of them might be true and all of them could be true.
Exactly. Like before I get into it, scat for me, because I'm going to go turn my ice machine off. Give me 2 seconds.
Scat for you? Like,
Did you say scat for
like
Dani?
in what sense, Dani? Because
or whatever.
I
I
was just
don't
going
know.
to shit my hands and clap, but no, we can.
Do you remember there was a rumor about the Scatman when we were younger? Like after he hit like the height of his fame, that there was this rumor that like he took a load of pills on stage and died.
Yes, yeah, I heard that he died live, but that but like
I
he died.
think he only
recently
died a
enough.
couple of years ago. Yeah, he died a couple of years ago. And I remember, like, you know, everyone was like, this, like, weird Italian man took a load of ecstasy on stage and died.
Yeah, but everybody,
like,
Scatman
John.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody thought he was, it was just part of the show. That was kind of what I was here, like, you know what I mean? He was, he was crying out and dying, and everyone just thought he was scatting. It's the same kind of thing.
Do you imagine
everybody has every generation has the guy who removed 2 ribs? So Who was that for you guys?
Marilyn Manson.
Manson for me, but it was Prince for people.
Prince.
So Prince.
Oh, I never heard it about Prince.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age with that one.
No, I am the same as you. So like I got Prince and Manson, like, so it's kind of what
I remember Manson being a thing as well. Yeah, but the first I heard was Prince, and it's just like, okay, that's just such a weird conspiracy to just copy and paste onto someone else.
Yeah, right. Let's just jump into this. So before I start, it's really funny because this also comes back to our good friend the Kennedys.
Yes.
I don't have too much information on it, Justy. Maybe you could find a little bit more, but I just know he spent like the whole summer with a Kennedy. I don't know which Kennedy. I couldn't find that out, but he was that well connected.
No, I have a different connection later on down the line, but I didn't know he spent the summer away. But we do have a recurring person that
like he lived with him.
We do have a recurring person that comes in here who the unfortunate, I think, is it Jocelyn Carter, the first lady, who we in our John Wayne Gacy episodes pointed out that she took a picture, with Gacy.
Loves all the freaks.
Yeah, but
Loves all
also
the freaks.
she ended up as being friendly with Jim Jones as well.
God damn it.
I know. Okay, so we'll start at the very, very beginning. Jim Jones didn't just spawn out of nowhere. He came from a home that was frankly a total mess. He was born in 1931 in Lynn, Indiana. His dad, James, was a World War I veteran who had been a victim of a gas attack, so he lived on disability. Emotionally, he was a ghost, never showed Jim any affection, would barely even look at him. Then you have his mom, Lynette. So she was the definition of like free spirit. Oh my god, like fucking earth rain, whatever. Before that was even like the cool thing. She didn't care about religion at all. She didn't believe in a god. She didn't really believe in anything. So she was kind of always deemed like the weirdo on the block, like, oh, don't go to her house. She doesn't have any beliefs. Like, she doesn't worship God.
I think she was completely kind of seen as someone who goes against her time completely. So like this is in the 40s in middle America, and she hated the husband, thought he was a lazy fucker because he couldn't work, he was on disability, but also he became a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
And according to Jim Jones as well, he was a Klansman. That has not been substantiated, but like
that's not like confirmed.
But apparently, like Jim Jones said it himself that his father was part of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, the mother, I hadn't heard her being described as like a free spirit, but what she was, what I've heard her described as was she was a unionist. Like she, because she worked, and it just seems like typical. This is me getting very sexist. A woman who has to work at that stage realizes how hard work is and goes, "Fuck this! We need a union." So like she kicks up and is like, "Work is hard, and we need a union." So she became very kind of like, I'm not going to say she was a communist, but she had. I would say
well, I suppose you could say she was like a socialist.
Yes,
like like a classic
socialist. Would be kind of exactly. Like she was a proletariat who was like, we need unions and we need the system to work for the workers and not for the fat cats up in the fucking chairs. And she was very, very kind of adamant about that. And again, like you said, Dani, there was no real religion in the household at all because he was a drunk, abusive Welshman, I believe, and she was of Irish descent, I think.
She had claimed at different points that she was part Cherokee, I think, but like that was never ever confirmed. And I think the dad was like Welsh Irish.
Yeah.
And the dad, like after World War I, like he had been in like some kind of gas attack and his lungs were fucked, and that's why he was on disability. And he probably had like, PTSD, which was like after World War I was called shell shock. Yeah. Like that was before, it would like change definition multiple times. And that's probably how he ended up as like this horrible alcoholic asshole.
Yeah. I mean, I think like not to suck any kind of veteran's dick at all. I feel like that's war in general is gonna just fuck you up beyond.
It's gonna break anything. A person, yeah.
Like anything, like you're gonna see like some fucking mad shit, like, and obviously you're kind of not gonna be fit for the real world, so to speak, when you come back from war, especially like World War I, which was like.
Yeah, it was all trench warfare. It was real, like down in the muck,
seen
really
as like the
visceral war.
Yeah. So where am I now? Here's the sad part. Then, Lynetta had zero maternal instincts. She didn't even want children, so she didn't want Jim in the first place. She was always busy working all the time to avoid being a mother. Jim described his childhood as totally loveless. He was always home alone, parents nowhere to be found. Just a lonely kid in Indiana. His dad, again, like we said, was rumored to be an alcoholic, though the records are kind of blurry on that. Either way, Jim was basically raising himself. So by high school, Jim was already acting a little bit different. While other kids were wearing like whatever they would normally to school, Jim always wore his like his Sunday best in school. He was always like very, very well dressed. So like pressed white shirts and like slacks and just every day. And he was obsessed with the image of authority. So just
fucking dork. Like,
I
just
know.
like, he's coming from the look, he, it's a tough childhood, and he's coming from this place where his dad is a total mess and his mother is away with the fairies, but like that turns him into this like, I am straight laced, I am by the book, and he gets into religion.
Yeah.
And he sees like this like opportunity in it, and just thinks like, yeah, I'm going to be the most, like, I guess it's like a reaction to a tough childhood where he's like, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be, a shining example of a person.
So he tried to play sports, and just like every other terrible man that we talk about on this podcast, wasn't very good at them. Hence why he decided to kill a bunch of people, because he couldn't throw a ball, basically. Even started a baseball team with the kids on his block, but he wasn't good at the game at all. He was just obsessed with being the leader and forming the teams. So, you know where this goes.
So I was saying that like this is like the seed that like goes on for the rest of his life, where like he gets, like you say, he gets a taste of power, he forms the team, so he's the head of the team, and then he gets to like tell other people what to do. And he gets this taste when he's a teenager.
Yeah.
And it completely consumes him.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that he does after this is like really calculated. And like to be like that as a teenager, like you're born that way. There's something in your brain that eventually, when you get that taste of power, you're just like, this is the missing piece. This is all I've ever needed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think something triggered in him that, because even when he was younger, he was like a feral child. He was like running around barefoot and stuff like that. No one was watching him. And then when he realized, like, I think he started emulating. We're obviously going to see it now. Like, but at an early age, he started emulating these preachers because he could see that they were respected. They were dressed nice. They were standing in front of a crowd of people, and the people weren't just taking notice. They were hanging on every word. And that's kind of what, when he realized he had the kind of, I suppose it is a talent, really, like that he had the charisma.
Yeah.
When he realized he had that he really leaned into it. And that's when he started dressing nice, and he started kind of organizing things like these sports and stuff like that. And mostly like he used to bring kids around to his house. Dani, I'm sure you have in your notes there when he starts having funerals for animals and stuff like that.
Oh God,
and, he invites, so he invites children around, and like, so apparently, like, he did really like take a shine. Like, he'd bring home animals all the time, and his mother was just like, I don't care, like, do whatever you like.
Yeah.
So he was like bringing home animals. There was like wild dogs, like you'd imagine, like in the 40s, that like, there wasn't a lot of control around your pets and stuff like that. Like, so there was just wild dogs around the neighborhood, and he kind of had the wild dogs. And according to one kind of thing I was listening to, these dogs would be very protective over him if ever there was a point when like a bully came around or his parents were shouting at him or anything like that. They'd get a little bit nervous because he had like these dogs that were basically wild dogs behind him. Like,
had a pack of dogs.
So like, I don't know if this kind of is where things started off, where he was like, actually, I've got my followers behind me, and it's these dogs. But he got that way with the neighborhood kids, and then that way, it's kind of a little bit crazy. Like, this guy, I kind of like him all the way up. Until and but like,
until the unpleasantness.
The kind of guy he is, like, yes, until the badness comes along. But but like we all stumble every now and again.
I think you're right, because and as I said earlier, I don't think that he was necessarily a terrible person. I think he like tried to do a lot of good, and then, I mean, spoiler alert, we all know how it ends. it's when you get into drugs and money and greed will change any kind of man.
No, I'm like totally other side to you guys. I think from a young age he knew what he wanted, and he figured out by manipulating people and by taking advantage of certain situations that he could. It was a path to power.
That's good. I like that. I like that we're all split. So
Yeah, no, I think I'm kind of down the middle between you guys, where I'm kind of like, Dani's like, oh, he's a good guy who got corrupted late. Oisin, you're saying he was bad and virtue signaled so that
Yeah.
people would think he was good.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle where I'm like, I could jump on one side or the other here and be like, I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure whether he.
arguments for both sides, like.
Oh yeah, I have it like where I'm kind of like, both of you are right, but I think at different stages it kind of overlaps. Like,
Goddamn fence sitter.
yeah, I know, I'm a terrible human being, but it's kind of how I see. I'm leaning more towards you, Oisin, if I'm honest. But I do think I would be the kind of person that would be like, oh, I'll follow this guy. He's saying a lot of cool things.
Yeah. Just Dani, when you mentioned, or sorry, Justy, you said that, like, he was feral when he was a kid. When they were like, when he was a kid, they were dirt poor. Like, they were so fucking poor because the dad couldn't stay and work. And like, at one stage they were living in a shack that their extended family had to buy for them because they missed mortgage payments. And they used to forage in the forest for food.
Yes,
like they were poor, so like there was just this like survival instinct. And I think that's kind of what fed into what he became, is that, like, everything became a bit of a hustle, to survive, to get your next meal, to figure out where you were going.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a really good point.
So yeah, as a teenager, then he started church hopping. He went to every church in town just to see what they were saying, like what they were preaching about. He wanted to know all of the options because he was looking for a place where he could belong, or more accurately, a place he could eventually run, I guess. He carried a little Bible everywhere and would stand in the middle of the shopping district just preaching his heart out. He was incredibly passionate, and people started to notice, which also fucking nerd. Really a teenager just fucking preaching.
He was doing this as a fucking teenager. Could you imagine how annoying a preaching teenager would be?
Just
shit
like
out
inch of
him,
Enoch
like-
work off this guy.
Oh my god!
That's
Yes,
a good point. That makes me not like him now. So
like on the underground here in London, like sometimes you will get like the underground train preacher, and like it's more common on the subway in New York. Like it happens all the time there, but sometimes you get it on the London Underground, and every time, everyone is just like, this fucking guy would just shut the fuck up,
because you don't want to be on a tube ever, and it's like the last thing you want to see coming on. Like
some guy preaching at you as well. But we get the soapboxers here in Ireland a lot, like where like literally on the street.
Them, yeah.
They'll be up, and like some of them have amps. Like there's a guy that sometimes is out with the GPO, and he'll have an amp.
I know him. I remember him. He's been there years.
But like, he's just white noise as well at the same time. Like you can just walk by them. But like, again, it's just one of those things as well that, like, if there was a Muslim guy standing outside the GPO, talking about the Quran, there'd be fucking uproar. The guy would be fucking dragged down the street and fucking stripped naked and thrown into
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, people choose what they want, like what's acceptable in that particular society. But I think Jim Jones was trying to figure out which one was the one that was going to catch, like which honey was going to catch the most flies. And I think that's why he was kind of hopping through which religion. And it's all the same religion. It's all Christianity. But like, which one was going to be the one that kind of caught the most attention.
So he was drawn towards Pentecostalism. And the thing with Pentecostals is that they believe in being born again. So like, you kind of find it within your life and you're born again. And it's this thing of accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, which, like, if you've watched any sport where an American has won something, they will talk about, like, oh, I'd like to thank Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. That's Pentecostalism.
But a lot of terrible people turn from being a Pentecost or being an absolute cunt to Pentecostal because the born again thing is like, you can wash away a lot of sins. Yeah.
Like a Shawn Michaels.
All these people. The Shawn Michaels thing was what I was going to say. So like a guy
Russell Brand.
My brother.
But there we go. Like, people who have led a life where they know they've sinned, and
Yeah.
Yes. Get out of jail free
now
card.
you can come along and say, I found Jesus, and it's the worst game of hide and seek ever, because the prize you get is smugness and the fact that
Superiority complex.
you've now got superiority. So like the thing about like this being Catholic, or dead again Catholic as I am, but like you kind of have that shame and that fear and that kind of like,
Oh yeah.
you're literally born with original sin, they call it, and
Yes.
you have to make up for that your whole fucking life. But these Pentecostal bastards, they just show up halfway through their life after doing terrible things, like fucking. I'm not going to get into it now, but the Epstein files. You're going to see so many of these fuckers.
We will do a part 2 on that.
I've been between Jonestown and the Epstein files. I've rotted my brain this week. It's terrible.
It's crazy.
I think one of the reasons that he was attracted to Pentecostalism is because within the Pentecostalism thing, you have the priest does the rebaptism, and they do they like help a person accept Jesus Christ into their heart, etc., etc. And
a lot of faith even comes along in that as well.
Yeah, and like he wanted to be the person that would welcome people into this church, because I think that in his head he was the savior. He was the one saving them, because he was bringing them into the fold, and in their mind it was because of Jesus Christ and God. But to him, I think he was going, "No, I'm doing this. This is all me."
Yeah.
That it tracks. Like there's with the way things go later on, and how people talk about how he wasn't very religious for someone who led a church. That it tracks that like he made it about himself and not really about Jesus. And pretty quick as well. Jesus kind of went out of his Christianity.
It's like whiplash.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a huge thing most Christians do. Like it's never about your faith. It's about like how good you are as a person for having that faith. It's never actually about worshipping or anything like that. And they're always terrible fucking people. Always terrible people.
Do you know who else has found God? Conor McGregor.
Of course he fucking has.
Yeah.
When did that happen? After he raped like the third woman? Like,
yeah, something like that.
Fuck's sake. Anyway, so at 17, this is another thing this is a complete side note here, but what baffles me about like that back then is you could have these fucking like gnarly jobs at such a young age. So he works in a hospital. What are they called? I couldn't figure out the name when I was doing the notes, but basically
an orderly.
Orderly, yes, thank you. Who like cleans up vomit and moves bodies around and moves like
we call them porters here.
Porters, okay.
See, I watch too much American TV. Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, Scrubs for me. But he got this job at 17, and now my mother was working in St. Senan's mental hospital at 14, which is just fucking wild.
Jesus Christ,
wild
to think of.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
No, she worked in the kitchens when she was 14, in a fucking mental hospital.
Sure. Yeah.
And at that time then she got married to my dad at like 21, and back then it was illegal for a married woman to work. So she couldn't go back
Ireland.
to work. Yeah.
Fuck.
Wait,
love that for her.
When was this?
So she was born 1952. So she would have been maths. Help.
It would have been like the 70s if she was like 20. So it would have been the late 60s if she was like, like the mid 60s, late 60s, she would have been a teenager.
And you're telling me it was illegal for a woman to work when she was
once
married?
You got married,
in the 60s.
You couldn't go back to work. Yeah.
Mother of Christ.
Yeah, once you got married, you couldn't go back.
Fucking Catholic Church, man.
Because I'm older than you, and my mother worked herself into a grave. Like all she did was work. So
it was legal, apparently.
Yeah, maybe at the start, maybe I just, because I'm the youngest of my family, so maybe I just saw her working days.
How old was your mother? When was your mother born? When she was born, sorry.
She was 0 when she was born.
When was she born?
I knew it was going there.
Fuck's sake.
She was born in 1956, I believe.
Just after my mom then. Maybe it had changed by then. But That or she just told my dad, "Oh, it's actually legal for me to work now, so I have to stay at home." And he would have believed her.
I mean,
Genius.
That's pretty good. The priest told me I can't work anymore.
He would have been like, "All right." And like he would have believed that too if she had said priest, because he never went to mass and he always gave out to us for not going. And then I was like, "Well, you don't go to mass." He's like, "We have our own thing going on. We have an agreement."
What, me and
Me
God?
and him. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. I needed to clarify that. Yeah.
I don't have to go because I'm always on the continent, so he
I
understands when I can't.
I
make
talked to
it.
the big lad myself.
Yeah, he's like, he said you still have to go because if you don't, it's a mortal sin on your soul. I'm like, all right, okay. And then we used to just go, right? We'd hide in the back garden in the fucking freezing cold rather than just go up to mass and sit inside in the warm.
Oh, I was sent to mass
We
as
just
well.
like, we're not going up there.
Sent to mass with 20p in your pocket for the priest. And then, Jesus Christ, I'm old. And then you'd have to come back and tell what was the priest talking about. So you'd come up and say, it was another one of them, St. Paul to the Corinthians. It was always a good chance it was St.
And
Paul
she
to the
talked to a
Corinthians.
neighbour then.
So,
Yeah.
Well, it was my old lad that would have done that. My mother was very religious, but never went to mass. I think like she had 100% she was riddled with ADHD. But like I think she was a little bit agoraphobic as well. Hated going like to places where there was like people that she'd have to talk to and stuff. So she never really went to mass. Yeah. But she ended up like later in her life, she ended up like being one of these people who brought people to Lourdes. She was a helper, and went on pilgrimages to Lourdes and stuff like that. So like I was like, this woman went from not going to mass to going to where Lourdes. Mass lives. Like that's
and like Lourdes and like Medjugorje like are just two of the weirdest places in Europe. Because people go there and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to go and pray and stuff," but they go over there and they fucking drink and smoke.
Somewhere weird. Oisin's been bingo.
Oh no, I haven't been to either one.
Oh, okay.
But I have been to Knock.
Well, yeah,
I have been to Knock, the Irish Lourdes.
Do you know what we could do? I know this is a big bingo, but we could do a full episode on how Knock came about, the Irish version of Lourdes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, is that
the priest and a vision?
Fucking yeah. I was trying to remember
what
priest,
it was. A vision, and a corrupt Irish government.
And just people, just brown envelopes all over the place.
Fuck yeah.
And yes, we are digressing here.
So I have lost my place. Yeah, so 17 he gets a job at the hospital, cleaning up vomit, moving bodies. I don't know how he did that, but apparently he thrived there. That was like, he loved it. He thought about going into medicine because he loved the environment so much. And this is where he met Marceline, a nursing student. And she was like totally fucking charmed by him because he had that air about him.
He's a charismatic guy.
And older than him by a few years as well, I think.
Yeah, she was.
Like he was 17, she was 23, I think, something like that.
Oh,
scandal. Yeah. So she thought that he was the most caring person alive, because he preached that everyone was equal and that it was his responsibility to help the world. They got married in June of 1949, but as soon as the honeymoon phase was over, the mask slipped. He told Marceline he didn't believe in her God, and they had these massive heated arguments. But because divorce was such a sin back then, Marceline felt trapped and she decided to stay and try to convert him. But the thing about this is, so Marceline didn't really kind of make anything for herself. She kind of very much like relied on him and stuck to him. Like even if she wanted to leave, she couldn't. She didn't have anything to go to. She didn't, have anything.
Like she just hitched her wagon to him and that was it.
But that's how he operates.
Exactly.
That's
yes.
He forces a dependency on him. Yeah, so like he does that. She's kind of like the test subject. I wouldn't say she's like patient zero for this. Like I think like he's already tried it out. He had a friend, I think named Doug back in Indiana, where he treated him like shit, but watched him always come back. Like at once when he was leaving, I think he shot at his friend with an actual gun, and Doug just kept coming back. and he realized like he had him wrapped around his finger in a way.
He could talk them into coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, he could always talk him into coming back. And this Doug guy talks about that like later on, like he's interviewed and stuff where he's like, I was his best friend, or I thought I was his best friend, but really I was like his first disciple, is the way he probably would have described it. Like, and then it's the same thing when it came along with the wife. So she was enamored by him, like again, this young guy, but he was so charismatic that like he obviously was able to get this older woman, and then she became completely dependent on him and subservient to him, even. Like, what a dude. Sorry, but
he would have killed it on Reddit today.
Like, but at this stage, he's my hero, because like at this, I really admire the fact. Now, again, he's a kind of a shitty fucker, like, so like we know that when it comes down to it. But at this stage, I'm looking at this guy being like, geez, he's got all the charisma. He can, talk to fucking anyone into doing anything for him. Like, he can talk the knickers off of fucking the any woman he sees. He can, like this. But this
and he's come from nothing as well.
Yeah,
like,
so he's after pulling himself up by his bootstraps.
Yeah,
and fucking like and become somebody that is so enigmatic that he like gathers people who follow him before he even is someone to follow. Like, he's just getting like one by one now, but like later on, obviously we'll see that he gathers people in their masses. Like, but like he's this kind of person that like I'm listening or reading about this guy, and I'm like, fuck, like would I have been the kind of person to be enamored by him? Now, I'm kind of an argumentative fucker at times, so like if we butt heads on stuff, I do feel like I'm very headstrong, so like I come up against authority a little bit. But again, I think like at the time, I don't know if I would have just been like, oh, this dreamboat, I'm going to follow him anywhere, you get me?
It's like that meme that's going around. I feel like I very much identify with that meme. It's like, I'm not stupid enough to go into a cult, but I am nosy enough.
Oh, yeah.
But then it would be a point where I'm like, let's see what's going on. Let's see where he's going with this. And then before I know it, I'm like in it. And I'm like, how did this happen? Like, let me off the island.
See, I just think that like as soon as someone would be like, oh no, give me all your money, I'm just like, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Well, the funny thing is with this, as it starts, he's not technically
it's baby
saying,
steps into that. Yeah.
So he's not like, right, this is a religion where you need to hand over all your money. What he was starting off with is, we're going to take care of the sick and the weak. So if you give over your money, or at least some of your money now, then we're going to look after the sick and the weak. But really, he was, again, we're probably going to get into it now, but he was preying on the sick and the weak, and then preying on the people who wanted to help those as well. So like he was so good at manipulating situations and people.
Yeah. So Jim eventually realizes that the white churches he attended were boring and stiff, and he felt that people were there because they had to be and not because they wanted to be. So he started going to Black and African American churches, and he fell in love with the energy, the singing, the dancing, just how they worshipped, and he felt like the vibe there that he couldn't find anywhere else. By 1952, at age 21, he was hired as a student pastor, which, what a fucking nerd, you're 21. He's just old enough to drink here, and he's like, no, I'm a student pastor. He ditched the nurse dream and decided his new calling was the pulpit. But after a year, he got frustrated because he didn't want to follow anyone else's rules. He moved to Indianapolis and opened his own church, the People's Temple.
Well, this is the thing that I've been talking about before, that was in last week's episode, and it's the contrarian thread that runs through men like this, where he gets little glimpses of power, and then eventually he just goes, fuck this, I have to do it. I have to do it where I'm the one in charge. Like, he was a student pastor, which means he was like, 20th on the pecking order.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I think he got into like the nursing because like it was a position of power and respect, and he thought he could get it that way. He didn't think that was enough. So he was like, okay, I'm going to be a pastor, because he was checking out all these pastors, and especially in like Black and African American churches, because like they're such like positive, celebrations of faith and joy and community. And the pastors are like super well respected in these churches because like they do bring people together in celebration. And he was just like, oh, that's how I do it. That's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then he joined a church and he was like, like 20th on the totem pole, and was just like, no, I can't wait for this. I'm going to set up my own goddamn church.
But the thing about the why I think he showed a reverence to these black churches, because what you were seeing was the energy in the room that was given back to the pastor at the time, or the reverend. So like when he was in this white church, white man's church, he was looking at this. Okay, there's a guy at the top, and it's pretty boring, and everybody is kind of zoned out. Nobody is tuned into this guy. So he said in this church that he wanted it to be, he wanted to allow black people in. And at the time, segregation was like still like you couldn't, there was absolutely no way that you could like integrate black people into this white church. And he said, like, what godly place wouldn't allow all of God's children in there? Like, so this was kind of where, like, on the surface area, you're looking at him and you're saying, like, oh man, this guy, he's a civil rights activist. He's really like pushing for that. And then the argument can be made later on when we find out like why, or kind of like his motivations behind things, that he kind of targeted the black community because they were slightly more like easily, and again, I'm just trying to be careful with my words here because I don't want to sound like I'm fucking racist or anything like that, but like the black community at the time was easily a little bit more led when it came to religion, because they got into it so much. And that was the thing, like like the energy in the churches. So like he was able to see, right, if I can get in here and I create an integrated church where I let the whites and the blacks like in together, this is going to be this is going to be individual. It's going to be my own thing. And I'm going to be able to kind of target a new kind of society, which is going to be the people who are progressive. Like there was no progressive church. You were either one or you were the other. But he wanted to kind of make it so that he makes this big energetic church that he can get white people, black people, all these people in, and kind of make it his own thing. And that's why he left that church and said, I'm going to make my own church. And it was on the basis of, because I'm progressive and I want an integrated church. But then later we probably will see that, okay, he just wanted to be able to manipulate more people. Like,
yes.
Mm-hmm. And I do love as well. So it was called, what was it called before? It was the Wings of Deliverance, I think he originally, the church was called, and then he changed it to the People's Temple purely because this building that they moved into already had temple carved into the stone. So he was like,
that original name is very Erica Kirk.
Oh yeah.
Very
Make
Keisha Cannon at a funeral kind of.
Make heaven crowded.
Yeah.
I do think he went through like a bunch of names before he again,
he's
as you
changed
said,
it a few times.
Yeah, he's situated on that one because he couldn't get rid of the word temple.
It was convenient. Yeah.
It's like, well, it already says temple, so because I think it was a synagogue beforehand, and then when he took it over, he was just like, well, we just have to go with the name. So the People's Temple was unique because it was racially integrated, which was a huge deal at the time. Marceline was the one behind the scenes, keeping the paperwork and schedules organized, while Jim did the talking. So she would also choose what he was preaching about every Sunday, which is really interesting. Like, so she would kind of go through all that, and he would just be like, "Yeah, give me a topic and I'll spitball it." Fine, because she was like the properly religious one as opposed to him.
Yeah, and he just knew how to like to take an actual religious subject and he would like riff on it and you know cast his net. So just when you were talking about like the how like what he did was incredibly socially progressive in one way, because he was like talking about like, you know, integration, and the so this was like 1952 when he left the other church to form his own church, to form the integrated church. Like the American Civil Rights Movement was like mid 50s up until the 60s and, still needed in America.
Yeah, he was way ahead of the curve here.
He was, like, as a white guy, like, he was way ahead of it. But again, like, I think that
Shane,
he actually...
I have to stop you there. You can't describe a white guy on this podcast. You have to say a white guy.
Oh, sorry. As a white man.
You're new. You'll get it.
Being so, like, into, like, integration at that time is just, like, it's unheard of. But, like, again, like, I just think that he saw the civil rights movement in its infancy, and he was just like, there is fruit here for me to pick.
Yeah.
And I think all of this is, like, yeah, it's really progressive, but it's, and like Justy, you were saying this as well, it's really cynical. He's just like, I'm going to cast a wider net because then more people will be in my net.
Yes.
Yeah. But he saw these kind of the civil rights activists and leaders as well, and they were some of the most charismatic people as well, again, because they were black guys. Like
and they
black
were
guys
like
are
preachers
the most,
as well.
Yeah, they're the most, like, let's face it here, like, they're the most charismatic back in the day. When you had all, like, a country full of wasps, these black guys who were standing up preaching, basically, whether it was religious ideals or political ideals, it was still they were the most kind of charismatic people you could see. And because other people you were seeing were white guys with buzz cuts, with black ties that were pulled straight up, like choking themselves with these ties. And they were like the most boring people that you could fucking imagine in America at the time. And we're going to go through all of this when we go through more of Oisin's Why America Has Gone Fucked Up, or whatever the name of that one is. But, like,
what is wrong with America?
Yeah, what's wrong with America? Whatever. It's the basis of everything we talk about. Like, it's always going to come back to, like, America is kind of fucked up, and it, like, again, it's the white man and all these boring fuckers were trying to hold on to this power, but it was slipping away from them. And I think that our buddy Jim Jones here was looking at the tide turning early, and he was wanting to get in on it.
Yeah, because like to just like say what you're saying about, like, there is this thing where, like, black musicians, black preachers have this charisma that's different, and it's because in a lot of black churches they're way more positive. Like, it's praising, it's celebrating, it's sharing. And then white churches, we say this as Irish Catholics culturally, it's fire and brimstone. It's like, God is watching you. If you do X, Y, and Z, you're a sinner. You're born a sinner. You have to spend your whole life with it. But, like, black churches generally, they were full of hope because, like,
but I think it comes from African culture, really. So, like,
because they're much more positive.
Yeah, so, like, the guys who were brought over from Africa brought over their religion that was kind of, now they were brought into Christianity, but that doesn't leave your religion. Like, it
doesn't change how they worship.
Exactly. The worship was the same. It's the same, like, when we were talking about with Brendan, when we were talking about Brendan's voyage and how the Christians came over and they couldn't exactly throw Christianity word for word into Ireland. They had to integrate it with our culture. And now we have kind of a different version of Christianity because we're Irish. And it was the same with the Black Americans, who had a different way of worshipping, as you said, because culturally they are a different people. And they're obviously as well, you have to look at it in a way that if you've been dealing with slavery and then, Jim Crow and all the different kinds of persecution that the Black Americans were dealing with all through the years, is that they've overcome that with perseverance through positivity, and they've had to do it. It's like why people say, like, oh, Irish people they're always so funny and they've got a dark humor. It's the reason why
survival mechanism.
Yes. So, like, the reason why all these kind of persecuted peoples, like the Irish, the Jews, could persevere through, like, it was humor and charisma, and with the black communities, it was, I should say, African communities, it was through positivity and again community. And that's what all of these churches were, and these political movements as well, how they unified through, like, positivity. And to be like, and as you say, with music, with their church practices, even with, like, how they dressed, they were just cooler, more positive.
Absolutely.
And, like, quiet. America was afraid of this.
Yeah. So, yeah, Marceline was behind the scenes.
But she was a fairly progressive person as well, this Marceline woman as well.
Marceline was, yeah.
So I don't think like she was just kind of like, I don't think he was able to convince.
Religious.
Yeah, but like she was
not
also
a shitty person.
Yeah, she was like very socially aware as well, and she was kind of like, we'll see, like the with how their family became blended, we'd call it today. But like she was someone who, he obviously followed her morals as well. The two of them kind of funny that they found each other in, like, at the time that they found each other at. But like these people who like were so progressive, like that they were like the anti-white people of the time, like. So like I don't think he just convinced her to change her whole way of thinking. I think they did align on a lot of things as well.
Yeah, definitely. So the church grew too fast and they needed a bigger building. Since the community was low income, Jim knew that he couldn't ask for donations, and he needed a performance. He couldn't just, be like, oh, help. He had to give them something for their money. Yeah. So he started by healing small things like headaches and coughs. He did the whole, we'll get into this because this makes me laugh so much. Like, he did the whole like heal, like screaming and like putting his hands on people, amping everyone up. And then people like believed this because he brought in audience plants.
Always.
People from his inner circle, people who like already went to the church, they would pretend to have like heart defects or even like fucking cancer. Jim Jones would put his hands on them and like heal them. And it's literally just like, I had born with the cataracts. And then Jim Jones put his hands on me and I went to bed and opened my eyes. I had not known that my house had wallpaper. Like, it was just like these crazy fucking stories.
He used to get people to old up and black up. So like there was a secretary.
God.
There was a secretary who worked for him who he got to dress as an old woman, put her in a wheelchair, and she got out and she walked, gingerly, and then ran across the stage. Yeah. And
like start doing flips.
Yeah, so it was basically this stuff. And
it's an old woman, and then she's just Erica Kirk.
Yeah, she's absolutely fine. She was the tap dancing frog from the Warner Brothers thing. But like it was
hello, my baby.
Exactly,
hello.
Yeah. But like he also got people to blackface so that the black community
would see him doing that to a black person as well.
Like, oh, he's touching a black person, but he didn't get a black person. He just got the same woman who was an old person and then just like blacked her up a bit. But because she was up on the stage, like people didn't get close enough to see. Like,
yeah, you couldn't get close. Yeah,
it's fucked up. It's just fucked up. Like,
but
again, here we go. Like, it's the progressiveness is the outer shell, and when you bite into it, there's the cynicism is underneath all of it. Like,
yeah.
So like this, and it's fucking wild the lengths that he went to. So the cancer cure. Jim or a nurse would swab someone's throat and then secretly drop a piece of chicken liver into their mouth. The person would then gag it up and the nurse would show the cancer to the audience, screaming that Jim had saved their life. And people were so blown away that the money just started fucking pouring in because they really believed he could cure cancer.
So the movie Man in the Moon about Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, I was just about to bring it up.
There is that scene where like Andy is riddled with cancer and he is like forlorn. He's desperate for like help and he's searching for everything. And he goes to one of these, he like spots it by accident, this like, healing church.
Yeah.
And he goes in, but he accidentally sees like how they fake it. Like, the
bucket.
The bucket and they palm the bits that they pull out and it's like, just like animal guts. And he sits there and just kind of like laughs to himself that like it's all a joke. And it's that exact thing where it's just people taking advantage of desperate people in desperate situations.
I think he almost choked an elderly lady to death because he was
like, of course,
because he was doing
that's going to happen.
Well, he was doing the trick with the chicken liver, and apparently he slipped it down her throat, like, and she was fucking like she literally almost choked to death.
But then he probably like patted her on the back, saved her life, and was like, "See, exactly,
but
I saved her."
Kind of gave her the Heimlich and nearly broke 3 ribs, and was like, "Yeah, I've saved."
And like this whole
she's
thing,
alive, isn't she?
This whole thing about like where he figured out is like, okay, I need to come up with a gimmick, I need to come up with a character, I need to come up with situations. It's like like last week, a phrase that's bopping around in my head is the snake oil salesman.
Yes.
And
yes.
that is going to be a future episode of What Is Wrong with America, snake oil salesman.
Can't wait. I cannot wait.
And this is his snake oil. It's the healing. It's the God's power in my hands.
We say that he was a shitty person, and Oisin, like I think you had touched on the fact that the whole integration thing was simply just to kind of just grab as much people as possible. I think he was genuinely passionate about integration. Like I do genuinely think that he was for civil rights and things like that. I don't think that he was like, just doing it for show.
I feel the same, Dani. That we've got exactly what you're talking about is right, but Oisin is right as well. This is what again. I'm sorry to be on the fence, but
no, it's fair. It's hard to call.
I do believe that he is progressive in his political views, but I also do believe is that he is a fucking sociopath. So he's just like if he was completely like the other way and a racist, he'd probably be a fucking grand wizard in a fucking clan. You know what I mean? Like I think whatever way his political views would have aligned, he would have climbed that ladder anyways because he was a fucking sociopath. But I do believe he thought he was doing good, all the way through. But also him being on top was just something he couldn't help.
Yeah, he saw maybe he was genuinely socially progressive, but he also just saw dollar signs in it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's quite possible, yeah.
No, I do get that. So he would take his members to restaurants that were segregated and hold peaceful protests until the owners gave in. Once businesses agreed to integrate, Jim would hand out flyers to his thousands of members, telling them to only shop there, only eat there, all of these different places because they accept Black people. And then these businesses then made mad money because of him. And he kind of became a best friend, you could say, to small business owners, and his influence in the city became massive. But again, from that side of it, it is just basically business owners being just let him in, we'll make loads more money. And they're just like, fuck, don't really fucking want to, but okay.
He's positioned himself as the fixer.
He's gaining favor.
He's got it. Yeah, he's got his parishioners, and then he goes to these businesses and he's just like, look, I can, all you have to do is let these people in, their money is good. And because the civil rights movement was moving at this time, the tide was kind of moving this way anyway. But then as soon as the businesses were oh, we've quadrupled our weekly take, this is great. And it's because he's brought these people here and they're not going to other businesses which have remained segregated. And he just wins more and more favor, business by business. He's such a networking fucking asshole.
He really is. He's a schmoozer. But so in 1967, Jim, Marceline, and their 4 kids at this point, 1 biological and 3 adopted, moved to Ukiah, California. Is that how you say that? Ukiah,
I think it is.
Ukiah.
Yeah, that's how I've heard it.
By 1969, Jim was feeling down because the church wasn't as famous as he wanted. And then the drug use started. He was taking pills to get up.
So can we just go to we can't skip over these kids, I don't think. These first 3 kids.
It's super weird. Yeah.
They're Korean. So So he adopts, they adopt him and his wife adopt 3 Korean kids and then end up having their own biological child, which I think some people were kind of skeptical of that. It was they didn't believe that he was going to have a biological child, because I think a lot of people, when they look into this, they say that he's a deeply closeted gay man. I don't think he is. I think he's sexually rampant. So. I think he's sexually rampant. But can we, I just, some of the facts that I know of him before we get go down, because the drug use starts before that. Before he became full-time as a pastor, he was a door-to-door monkey salesman. Did you know this? Have you seen this?
I saw a picture of him. I saw a picture of him with a couple of monkeys, and I was just like, "Nah, that's not real."
That's the best job ever.
So I'm going to say this. So this is where we come in. This sounds like an unbelievable human being.
Yes.
He he was making money selling monkeys door to door.
No.
Now,
No.
there was a woman who was like, yeah, he came to my house and he spent like a few hours here just chatting to me and talking to me, and then I just bought a monkey off him because he was.
And he just had these monkeys.
He was selling monkeys, and he was such a nice gentleman that I bought a monkey off him. This guy
Do you
was.
think that this is?
We were talking about a snake oil salesman. How is it not
He was
called
a monkey
door-to-door
salesman.
This guy
Yeah,
literally,
fuck.
like, and not like, you know, stuffed monkeys or a little kind of cymbal playing monkeys, like a fucking monkey. Like, he was selling fucking zoo animals door to door and making bank on it. Like, can we?
Different times, man. Like,
I know.
it's such a bizarre thing. It's so fucking weird.
If someone came
If
to my
someone
house,
turned up at my front door,
yes, we'd 100% be talking to each
Let me
other
fucking
while there
tell
was a
you,
monkey on our shoulder.
If we would. But like,
100%.
if someone came to my house, tried to sell me a monkey, I'd be like, get the fuck off of my porch, you son of a bitch.
Now
and then I'd steal his monkey.
If this
now
was 60s, you'd be like,
60s,
I'll take two.
I'd have two monkeys. I'd have two monkeys. Yeah.
We are very in sync. But like, yeah, so this is the kind of, like, he's got this fucking just this charisma, but he also
so
became
weird.
enamored by, I don't know if you read into this guy or if you have him in the notes, this Father Divine. So
Yes.
yeah, so Father Divine kind of sounds like a priest from Galway, which I was very much expecting that to
Absolutely.
be. But
Yeah.
no, he's not. Divine is an Irish surname, by the way, if anyone is listening in and wondering why I'm talking about it. But he was an African, I want to say a cult leader because it kind of was.
Yes, it
So
was
he
a
was
cult.
Very culty.
Again,
very
so
culty.
he was very much so a charismatic man. This is another, like, a real influence on Jim Jones's life, and he saw the way he preached at the people, and he kind of emulated this a little bit. And like, as you listen to kind of some tapes of Jim Jones, he gets kind of more black as the tapes kind of go on. He does, like, he kind of
He's like copying the
he
style.
code switches. He code switches so much for different people. Like, so I think he like sees people and then emulates them, and I think that's what he was doing with this guy Father Divine. And even when this guy Divine, when he died, so again, that's obviously not Father Divine's real name. He called himself Father Divine, and he was married to a woman that he called Mother Divine, and they were the leader of their own cult, their own church.
And she was a lot older than him as well.
Yes.
She was like, really, really old compared to him.
He ended up dying, and Jim Jones contacted her and was like, I want to take over the church. And she was like, no way, no way, no way, no way. And but this is where he kind of was like, fuck this, I'm gonna make my own church as well. Yeah, so basically he did that. It's like
Blackjack and hooker.
Futurama reference, excellent. But it's just sorry, I know I've gone back a little bit, but it was just another little
this
thread.
this is good.
It's it's another little thread in there to show that, like, this guy is like always fucking hustling.
He's picking, and so when he contacted the widow of Father Divine, he tried to like position himself as like almost like a reincarnation of Father Divine. He's just like, he's like, I'm the spiritual successor and maybe literal like reincarnation, and it's just like, you are trying everything. Like,
well, she pointed out, she said like, you were born in 31. She was like, yeah, there's no way, like, he died like while you were in your 20s. Like, there's absolutely no way you could be reincarnated. And he was like, no, his spirit passed into me. Because
Father Divine was born in like the 1870s. He was like, he's a throwback.
The 4 kids, and they move to Ukiah. But by 69, Jim was feeling down because the church wasn't as famous as he wanted. Then the drug use started. He was taking pills to get up and liquids to get down. This turned him from a caring leader into a paranoid, controlling psycho. His eyes were always red and watery from the drugs, so that's why he started wearing those infamous dark sunglasses 24/7.
No, this next bit, I fucking love this so much.
Yeah,
just
me
go
too.
ahead.
It's very, very X-Men to me.
No, to me, it's like Elvis Presley at the height of his drug use, but it's like this is like 10 years before Elvis was doing it,
yeah,
and it's a more like caricature evil Elvis version.
evil Elvis. Double E. So he told his followers that his inner holy energy was so bright that if they looked at his eyes, they would literally burn to death. And they believed him. They're like, keep your glasses, King. Legit.
You gotta believe me. If you look me directly in the eyes, you'll burn alive.
Yeah.
This is
So
it's
he
crazy.
just didn't like. He was just fucking mental at this point. Like he was going
And
mental.
people were just like, "Yep, got it, no problem, Jim."
That's true. That's obviously
But again,
true.
but can you see, like, the more it kind of progresses? By the way, he had 5 children at this stage, Dani, because before he moved to California, they adopted a black kid, and they were the first white people ever to adopt a black kid in Indiana. Which again was, sorry, that's just a timeline thing that just stuck in my head there because. Again, another kind of a progressive thing. But when they went to California, this is when we're seeing him like into the drugs and stuff like that. Obviously, he kind of gets into that lifestyle. So like he got in Indiana, he got like into the favor of politicians and stuff like that. I mean, he got kind of like he realized he was hitting a wall, and he needed to go somewhere that there was more people and also was a lot more progressive because he could, like get under the skin of more people in California. And again, California was well known for being kind of hippy dippy. They would have
said in the 1960s. Yeah.
So again, everyone was all about peace, love, and integration. There at that stage. Yeah. So we get to California, and that's when he went there wanting to kind of grow, but also he fell into the vices very quickly of what California is as well. So like when he got in with these people who he was getting in with these groups who he was influencing them, obviously, like, because that's what he was doing. But unbeknownst to himself, like, he was falling into the trap of like, oh, I'm going to take these drugs and I'm going to do this. I'm going to live this fucking life. And he kind of got into free love and drugs and all this kind of stuff. And he was then really struggling with, I'm a cult leader, basically, because that's what he was. At this stage, it was a full-blown cult.
Yeah, it was full-on cult
leader, but also I've got my own demons. So you start to see the cracks appear in him where he goes off from the I'm just collecting money from people and preaching and kind of having power into this kind of, this is where it kind of gets a little bit maniacal, and he starts getting very controlling, and the whole thing kind of spirals from California, I think.
Yeah. Massive hypocrite as well. So Jim preached against cheating, but he was having an affair with a 19-year-old church member. And he told Marceline, who was bedridden with back pain, that he still loved her, but he needed this girl on the side for the sexual part that she couldn't provide.
Gaslit to bits. Like, he was, this was his MO, was like, he really did go down the route of, well, if I don't get what I want, I'm going to hold my breath. And we'll see it like come out later on where like he does it to the nth degree. But like he done that with his wife here as well. Like, I'm a good man, but I have needs. And he kind of
urges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he kind of convinced her that he should be allowed to have sex with whoever he wanted now, because he was
making it her failure.
Exactly.
Well.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't provide this. You can't give me my matrimonial duties. So I'm just getting it somewhere else, but I'm telling you about it.
And it was to the point where like he actually stood up and told the church that he was shagging this 19-year-old. Like, just stood up there like, all right, God is good. God is good. and so are 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
I'm fucking
That's
that girl
like
over there.
The most
Like-
Matthew McConaughey
yes.
character from that movie.
All right,
Yeah,
all
all
right,
right,
all right.
19-year-olds.
right.
That's what I like about
I get
angels.
older, they stay the same age. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But yeah, so like basically he got up and like fucking told everyone. And like his followers just supported him. They were like, you know what, King? Makes sense. Yeah, she can't suck your dick. That girl can. Makes sense. You go for it. You do what you want to do. And then yeah, eventually he convinced almost all of the women in his inner circle that having sex with him was part of their religious duty.
And this is so
This is
common in
most
cults.
Yeah.
It's most cults. Like cults will always reach a point, like, you know, whatever roller coaster journey they take, they will always reach a point where the people at the top are like, you know what? I want to have sex with 300 women.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
all have
going
to
to
have
do
sex
that.
with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a bunch of married couples. Oh, well, you see, God says that I have to bang your wife. You know,
But
that's,
again,
it's just
I'm
how
st-
God
I'm
lives.
still on board with him though. Like at this stage, like I'm like, but I'm honestly saying, I am looking at him and being like, this guy is the coolest. He is. But no, in my head right now, I'm like up until this point, if I'm sitting in that congregation and he was like, I'm up here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have sex with all these women, I'd be down there going, fucking preach, King. I would like,
Honey, get up
because
there.
now it's
You're just like, someday this could be me.
yeah. I'm like, oh, so this is what it's going to be. If he's getting away with this stuff, then that's what it's going to be. So it's going to be free love. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so this guy, he's preaching the good word, whatever it is that I'm believing in, integration, progressiveness, and now free love.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, baby, sign me up. I'm drinking that Kool-Aid knowing that it is 100% just cool and aid right now.
Because you're like, he's a fucking legend. I will die for
I'd
him.
be looking at it like, I'm not like, looking at it through the eyes of someone in 2026 who is 40 years old and knows better. But if you got me at 19 and I'm sitting there, I'd be like, this stuff is cool.
This sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
This is how people fall for Andrew Tate, though.
Yeah, well,
No. They
again,
fall for Andrew Tate because they don't have a fully developed brain.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was going to say, like, I don't think I'd ever fall for the likes of Andrew Tate because, again, I'm a little bit more on the sensitive side. So, like, I don't like any kind of cruelty aspect. So, like, I don't.
Yeah, he's
like,
super aggressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like when it's like putting somebody down. But if this guy is sitting up there saying like, we're all going to go to heaven and we're all going to go to heaven as people holding hands with black, white, fucking everybody, you know, Asian people, fucking Cherokees, everybody, we're all going to heaven together and we're all fucking on the bus. I'd be like, yeah, get me on that bus to heaven, baby.
Yeah,
But
it
I
sounds
have
like
to
a good time.
I
Fuck
have
me
to
some
say, like,
interracial ladies.
when it comes to like cult leaders and stuff like this, right? So this is, we all know I have very questionable taste in men, right? Fine, whatever.
You
I
would have been
don't-
Mansoned. No doubt in
That's
my
what
mind.
I was literally just going to say.
No doubt in my mind.
Hands down, Manson. Hands down, Manson. I would have like
I'd have
man
been
lives in the
Jones.
I would have taken that UTI like a fucking sham. Like I would
Oisin
have
would
had
been
that
Stalin.
gross.
We all know like what way.
I would have been the Red Army. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I would have had that gross, like gravelly desert sex, like no fucking problem. And I understand that, so I'm like, I guess it's just like it's a case of like to each their own. Like I'm not gonna say I love fucking Manson, Jesus, but I would have back then in the fucking 70s I probably would have fallen for Manson. And I guess if you like the clean cut, God fearing, respectable man that Jim Jones was, you could maybe kind of see him as handsome. I just don't
He had a
understand
weird
it.
square head. He had a
He
fat
was,
square head.
and he had bad teeth, and like, I mean, he wore the shit out of those glasses, though. They really did suit him. I think
he was going to murder everyone around him if they looked him directly in the eye. Like he was protecting his flock.
But if you have like the likes of and who I love, this is like another cult that we'll do an episode on, because it's actually really interesting. But Marshall Applewhite from the Heaven's Gate cult.
The Heaven's Gate.
Fuck. Yeah.
Adorable, weird little gay man, and he had his wife. So the other woman who ran the cult with him, they were married, but like obviously because he was so very gay, he wasn't having sex with her, and so he was able to forbid everyone else from having sex because he wasn't having it. So
Well,
he
if
was
I
just
can't,
like,
you can't.
Yeah.
yeah, basically. he was like, "Oh, it's forbidden. That's why me and my wife never have sex, like because we're so devoted."
Yeah. That's why I never touch women.
Yeah,
No,
when in
none
reality,
of
he
us
was
would
just
have.
very gay.
I don't think any of us here would jump on the Koresh bandwagon. No, I don't think that's
Oh
one that.
God, no! I don't think I'm
Yeah.
stupid enough to fall in the Koresh. I'm pretty stupid, but like not Koresh stupid. I don't think. I don't know. It depends.
He was a bit. He was.
Pretty
I think he was just.
Everyone's
He was a little bit just full on at the whole way.
He was
like,
very. Yeah, I mean, he was very, very like angry at the world. Like, and I think, yeah, he went crazy. But we can do a whole episode on like, it's Waco, isn't it?
Waco, yeah.
Yeah, we could do a whole episode on that because that was a fucking shit show, and how the government handled that as well was just fucking wild.
America,
yeah,
fuck yeah.
Let's get back to Jones though, so we can.
So
sorry, I feel like I'm the one that's really derailing at this time around.
No, you're fine.
This is good.
It is good. We're still on topic. But so Jim became obsessed with the idea that the FBI and the CIA, again now, just to go back a little bit, this was 14 pages. I cut a lot of shit out of this for time.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jim became obsessed with the idea that the FBI and the CIA were out to get him. He told his followers that America was going to become a land of concentration camps. Does that sound familiar?
Ugh, it just fucking history repeats itself in like 30-year cycles.
He was very much so using what was in the psyche of the people at the time. So not many years before this, Japanese Americans were in internment camps.
Yes.
So he was using that. He was using the words internment camp, especially. Like he was saying, when he also had his people kind of cut off, and we'll see he really wanted to get them cut off later. Like, but he was trying to cut them off from talking to anybody outside the cult as well, so that he could tell them what was happening in America right now. And he was saying the civil rights movement was kind of backfiring, and that black people, it was inevitable that they were all going to be put into internment camps, and that they were going to be locked up, and you have to stay with him. And this is you were safe within the temple, and you shouldn't go. You know what I mean? Don't go out. It's like is it the Hills of Eyes where it's like don't go past
the Hills of Eyes? Yeah, like everything like outside of our compound.
Exactly,
like everyone's out to get you.
Yeah,
exactly.
So around this time, so like his paranoia about the FBI and CIA, I think there was a genuine paranoia there because they probably were fucking watching. Like it was well-known cult at the time. But I think he used it and he fed it to his like his people, saying that like, oh look, they're coming for us, so we need to leave. But a lot of the bad publicity that they were getting at the time is because there was a bunch of men who had left the cult because Jones had fucked their wives, and so these guys had left the cult. Sorry.
Well, I think they were called the something 8 because it was 8 men that left.
Yeah, and they went to the media and they said like, look, we were in this cult and we were in it for like the right reasons, and as soon as we got into it, all this abuse started happening, and then he was having sex with my wife, and now I have no relationship with my wife anymore. And it was like 8 guys, and so Jones like was just like, okay, I know how to spin this. The feds are looking out for us. They're coming to get us because they don't want us to live free and to love and to live in this perfect society.
Misinformation. Yeah. So they're like, he was using this against was against his own people, where he was saying these people left and now they're brainwashed, when it was really like he had his people brainwashed. But he's saying like these guys, the CIA have gotten them, and apparently he was a very paranoid person before
the drugs
and stuff like that. Like, so like this obviously didn't help. And also I imagine the fact that the CIA were, and again,
absolutely.
this is down the route of conspiracy, but like, again, as you say, Oisin, if you're a cult in the 60s, there's no way in hell that the CIA doesn't have something on you, like, or isn't like at least keeping tabs on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in 1973, they scouted a location in Guyana, South America. By 1977, Jonestown was ready. Jim promised a utopia, but it was a labor camp. People were sleeping on top of each other. Followers were starving on, and they were only fed peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and rice. While Jim had a fridge, fans, a generator, and mistresses. So he had everything
Yeah, so
that he could want.
Okay, I'm gonna go now. Again, don't want to derail too much, but just on the conspiracy side of things here, where Jim Jones, while when they got to California, things were going really well, and at the height of the California experience, there was about 3,000 people in the congregation. And he kind of he seen that they had hit a wall at 3,000 people, so that's when he started scouting for other locations. But also there was word of his passport had gone to like England, had been to Russia, which is kind of a big one, but like had a load of stamps from a load of different kind of places that he'd gone on a kind of whistle stop tour to these different places. Now, the conspiracy, or the people who would like look into things and would find correlation, would say that the likes of Lee Harvey Oswald and Chapman, well-known sleeper agents, as people would say that they are, belonging to, like, again, that's a conspiracy. But they had also gone on these whistle stop tours before whatever happened with them, you know what I mean? Like, so like with JFK stuff and stuff like that. So they're just, people are kind of pulling a kind of was he in the CIA? You know what I mean? Was he an asset?
Yeah.
Is the question there. And again, I don't want to go away too much from the actual truth or the source material, but I just want to put it out there that it has been, it's been in the like zeitgeist, or like, you know, the air, that the story is out there that this all could have been like that Jim Jones
all could have been an op.
And again, it all goes down with MK Ultra as well, like this kind of stuff, when you see the drugs are involved and stuff, and Manson, and we see that Manson was he was a part of the MK Ultra trials, and when MK Ultra was like an actual thing that was happening. We know that happened. It was in the CIA have released those documents. They went underground in the early 70s. So like in 71, I think maybe that's when MK Ultra went underground. So in 73, people are saying very convenient timing that this guy, who now is addicted to all these fucking drugs. Yeah. So now so why things changed so rapidly in the early 70s, like. So again, that's just like he ended up, he kind of settled in Brazil for a little while and was like, I love it here, but couldn't really get the Brazilian government on board with allowing like 1,000 people to come to Brazil, and also they didn't speak the language. So we've got the next best thing was Guyana, which turned out to be perfect, because we actually talked about this in the Puritan pod, which is the Puritans almost landed in Guyana because it was a British colony, or it was kind of I think the Brits and the Dutch kind of had a share in it, and then
they had it like divvied up amongst themselves.
Yes. So but then the British, I think in the 1800s, bought it outright off the Dutch, and it was a British colony. So the language in Guyana is actually English. So it's very handy for a bunch of Americans to land there, and they actually speak the language. And
they speak to
so where they ended up setting up as well is so convenient, because it's on the border between Guyana and Venezuela. So the Guyanese government were so happy to have a bunch of Americans settled on the border between Venezuela and Guyana, because Venezuela were very into invading at the time. And so
they thought they were like an insurance policy.
Yes, they had a barrier, this American cushion. If you have a bunch of Americans and you have the Venezuelans come and slaughter everybody that's in their way, the first people they meet is the Americans, and then that becomes a crisis, and America is going to start fucking bombing Venezuela. About 40,
and
about 60
America
years
would never
before.
do something like that.
Only,
they would
like,
never.
50 years too early. So
they would never go bomb Venezuela.
But I just think that it's again really kind of there's conspiracy out the wazoo with this one. There's so much that kind of, like that. Oh, the CIA. And again, when we get to the end, we'll see that the CIA were close by. Like there's Green Berets and stuff close by. And conveniently at the time. So was he an asset, or was the CIA kind of infiltrated in them? We'll see. We can talk through it at the end and kind of see if it makes sense. Try and make sense of it anyways. But I'm just saying, like, there's more threads than just a charismatic guy gets a bunch of people and then brings them to South America. There's so many more kind of weird threads to this that kind of it's the most kind of interwoven conspiracies. Like this even goes like kind of a little bit madder than guys being like, oh, flat Earth, and now there's a hollow Earth, now there's lizards living in the Earth. And, this one actually is like a kind of a CIA conspiracy that makes so much sense the more you pull it.
There's real threads.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that there's nothing kind of paranormal about it. It's all very kind of like fact-based
stuff.
Fact. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, again, that was another big detour.
No, you're fine. Before we move on, though, I do have to say, when you said Puritan pod, all I can think of is like 3 Puritans with a podcast, and it's killing me. I just think that would be the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Like, I read the Bible today. I also read the Bible today.
Yeah.
It was good.
My wife is a whore. I also think that my wife is a whore.
My underwear itches.
I'm not gay. I'm not gay.
Jesus.
How dare you?
My wife didn't start my bloomers correctly, so I'm hanging her in the morning.
Should we hang Agnes?
I accuse Goody Bad Wife.
Goody Bad Wife is brilliant.
The Simpsons.
Goody Bad Wife. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
I accuse Goody Bad Wife. It's like, you're here to eat our kids. It's like, eat their kids. We were just going to swipe their shoes, but eat their children. So long. Anyway, so Jim was, again, so fucking into his drugs at this point that he would rant over the loudspeaker system 24/7, keeping everyone in a state of sleep-deprived paranoia. So he would also, and this is, I left this out of the notes, but he would preach from imagination at this point.
Oh, Jesus
so
was gone out
fucking,
of it. Like,
he was so
all
fucking high, and he was giving essentially the news from back home, but he was imagining the state of America at this time and what could possibly be going on in America.
He got big into his nuclear holocaust. So like his fear mongering now was that and a good reason why they were in South America is because he said they were protected by the mountains and stuff like that. It's the safest place you could be when the nuclear holocaust comes. So like
nuclear.
Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear. But when the so you can imagine like the Cold War is ramping up and the threat of nuclear fallout is imminent around the world.
It's hanging over everyone.
Yes. So he was using this and telling them that America was the wrong place to be. Like and their ideals their ideals actually matched up more with Russia. So he was saying that they needed to get out of America anyways, but they didn't want to go to Russia because it was going to be unsafe for them to go to Russia as well. But he said they had ties with Russia, and Russia was kind of their fail-safe as well. Like when all goes south, they're going to all fly to Russia. When he ends up buying a plane and fucking the whole shebang, and he was like, we're going to get hundreds of people on this jumbo jet, and we're going to fly to Russia. And if that doesn't work out, we'll all kill ourselves. But like, we're going to go to Russia. But again, the nuclear threat was the big one. Was the one he was hanging over everybody.
to go back to like what you were saying about him having people kind of, I guess, dependent on him and not able to leave, like with Marceline, who like basically just hitched her wagon and couldn't go. In a sense, it kind of happened with his followers here, but only because he literally confiscated everyone's passports. So no one could leave with their passports, and they also were told that like their flights back to the US would not be paid for. And now they had to give all of their money to Jim.
Shot.
Yeah.
At this point, they had stockpiled like a massive amount of weapons.
Yeah, but this was in the very beginning before this had. Yeah. Before this had happened, the passports were taken away straight away, and like everything was like that.
When it came to the Bibles and things like that, this again, what you're saying is absolutely spot on. Like it's all control, but that was even overkill, because he already had them there, and the only way you could get to like the airfield was there was one road to the airfield, and he had them told that the Guyanese government are gonna shoot anybody who tries to leave this place because they're a defector or whatever. He had a great relationship with the Guyanese government, but he never told the people that. He told them that like this is our sovereign piece of land, which also was a lie because he was renting the land. But because the Guyanese government wouldn't sell him the land because they were afraid he was going to make a sovereign state, a Vatican City kind of a situation. But he had told people that they were going to get shot, and the only other place they could go was to the jungle. And he's like, the jungle is sudden death. Like in California or Indiana, like if these people left, they could jump in a car or you hitchhike, go to the next town. But in this place, you're going to fucking Anaconda country.
Full isolation.
This is it. Exactly it. Now, there was a train station somewhere south of this place, apparently, but like nobody knew this. Nobody knew that there was any kind of amenities. As far as they knew, they were all just in the jungle, and that's it.
Yeah. And then as well, like they monitored all of their letters to their family and stuff back home. And you had to be like nothing but complimentary to Jonestown and everything else, like no complaints, nothing like that. Like the slightest complaint, the letter wouldn't be sent and you'd be punished for sending it. So basically, and I know I say this every time and on every episode, North Korea, everything's sunny all the time, always. It was basically like that.
It's control, it's how they do it. The funny thing is about this place, sorry, but like the funny thing about this place is that this was a paradise to the first people who settled there. So he sent down like about, I think, 100 people. His son was one of them that went down, and they got in there. It was tough. They were working hard, but they were building this place. They built like a medical center, or there was probably a good medical center there. Apparently, again, suspicious, but they all got in there and they worked, but they were all watching movies. They were singing songs. It was all kumbaya. And everything was absolutely wonderful because they had come down here, and again, they were kind of living what the original idea of this place was.
What the promise was.
Yes, like a community. Again, he didn't use the word communist. He used the word community all the time. So like this is the idea was that they were down there and they were actually living this dream. They were kind of having this lovely time where everybody was happy. And it's when Jim Jones arrived and he was like, okay, let's get some armed men up here. And he did stage. Did you see this one where he staged a shooting against himself? So like again, it was this was
I did see that.
So this is one of the more extreme versions of the kind of fate healer stuff that he was doing. So he staged that someone came up with a gun, shot him in the belly, and he went down, blood everywhere.
Right.
So he got dragged off, and a couple of hours later, he came back out with the shirt covered in blood, ripped over. And he had healed himself. And the audience was, oh my God. he
Clenched
is
chin,
exactly. And the audience was like, "Oh my God, this is exactly. Oh my God, is exactly what it was. It's not about Jesus anymore. It's about him."
We saw, they would have been like, we saw him get shot. Yeah,
Carrie needs a fuck. To bring that back to, as we do on every episode, the righteous gemstones is a huge kind of like a huge part of that as well. It is just fucking showmanship. And it's like, and they would do fucking crazy shit like that as well. Like Baby Billy's Bible Baby Billy's Bible Bonkers, I can never say it, had all of that crazy shit like that. He had all his like fucking like faith healers who selling his Bibles for like, or like this is gonna cure, this is gonna prevent you from getting COVID, $29.95, and it's just like a bottle of water. Like it's just fucking like crazy stuff. These blessed masks. It is just
I think we're going to see it when Oisin gets into the fucking these new age evangelists when we get them. Yeah. So like when we get there and we get to the super churches and all that kind of stuff where people are now literally just paying for prayers. You can't even see them, like but it's like that's exactly what he was doing, and what you're talking about, Dani, is what the gemstones kind of make fun of, and the kind of lampoon. But the funny thing is, it's not that far away. Like that satire isn't that far away from the truth. So like,
no,
when
it's
you
pretty
have
much
the likes,
like it is.
Yeah. When you have the likes of Jim Jones there, like being able to get shot and then tell people that he healed himself, like right now, like we will say we could watch that and objectively we would say this is bullshit. But we're watching what's happening in America, and like not just America, like all over the world, but particularly in America right now, where people are being fooled by what they're seeing with their own eyes. Like the likes of this, the ICE stuff, like where there's guys getting shot in the back 9 times, and people are like, well, you saw it. He came out and
that didn't happen like that.
And,
as for your old lady, she shouldn't have moved off like that.
And that, but like, but like again, like you shoot a woman in the side of the head as she's driving in the opposite direction of you, and you can still say to the people,
you can still tell people,
she was a domestic terrorist
that's not what
who was
happened.
attacking ICE.
Yeah.
And then people are going to believe it. Even they see it with their own eyes and they'll still believe it. So you can imagine what can happen in the 60s, the early 70s, and like this guy who has got you he's convinced you to move to Guyana, number one, and fucking like sticks your whole fucking life with the promise of this wonderful fucking life and this everlasting fucking kind of church that he's after making, and then you see him heal himself from a gunshot wound, and you're like, oh my God, I am in. Like anything this guy does, mind-blowing. I am fucking following. Yeah. Sorry again, I've just derailed again.
It's not. It's all on the same topic. It doesn't count.
I know. But I'm just like there's so many different avenues that you can go when learning about this. It's just it's hard to kind of just keep it to like, here's what happened. There's a lot more kind of like every time you scratch a sore, you can see it's infested underneath it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So again, this one I could go into a bunch of information about this. For time, it's very brief, but in November 1978, Congressman Leo Ryan flew to Guyana to investigate rumors of abuse, which to send a congressman is taking it very, very seriously, which is one thing I'll say, because at this point they had actually received sneaky letters from the family. So they would go into the local village quite a lot. They made a lot of money from I think they made toys and things like that they would then sell in the local villages. And they managed to sneak letters to the locals. Obviously, this got back to the States. More and more families were receiving these letters. They were talking out about it. They were going to newspapers. They were going to news stations and stuff. So word did start to get around a little bit. And then there sent
big
Leo
players
Ryan.
Here that get Ryan here, and it's I don't know if you went down the route of the Stones. There's this family called the Stones, and what had happened was Tim Stone is the main guy, and he's the guy that he unravels this whole thing. So he was able to leave. When he came on board, he was kind of given a little bit more freedom than the rest of the people, and him and his wife joined with their son. And when he got his wife pregnant and they had the son, Jim Jones was able to convince this guy Stone that he was going to be the father of the child. So he signed over the rights to his child. And Jim Jones is now the father of this child. And the guy, Stone became disillusioned by this whole thing. And he left. And he was like, I'm taking my kid. And he was like, it's actually not your kid, it's my kid. So you're going to have to leave the kid here. He goes, I'm going to let you leave, which is very unusual. But he kind of did hold this, because this Stone guy, I think, was, I'm not quite sure whether he was a lawyer or something along the lines. Maybe he was a journalist. I'm not sure. And he might have, he was working as like a PR representative. So like people who kind of had a bit of high status in the real world, who Jim Jones brought in, he'd keep them a little bit high status among, in his inner circle, and he'd give them a little bit more, kind of, they weren't just living on the basic rations. They also, exactly. So these people who were useful, who would have had like a means to bring the church upwardly mobile. But it turns out that he, again, Jim Jones, for all the people that he did fuck, men, women, everybody, he didn't actually have any kind of relations with this. I think is it Marcy Stone? I'm not sure on the name.
Marceline.
This is my worst thing. No, that was his wife.
Oh, you weren't. His wife. Sorry, I'm mental.
So Mrs. Stone, I don't know if I probably should just Google it now, but anyways, he never actually, like, he didn't have any relationship with her, but he was just like, I should be the father of this child. So he signed over the rights. So the child was now legally Jim Jones's child and Mrs. Stone's child. So when he left, he said, I want to take my child and my wife with me. And he was like, that's a no-go. This is my child. You can leave, but you're not taking the child. And that's why he left, and I think his wife and the child stayed. And Jim Jones was kind of, he really took an attachment to this kid. After listening to so many hours of this, and I can't remember the kid's name, but the kid, let's call him Little Stone. So Little Stone, he
Pebble,
kind of, so the Pebble came Jim Jones's kind of little kind of fucking protege. Like, he was still like a small child, but like he loved having him around. He treated him like his son. And when Stone went back to America, he tried to kind of get in contact with some people, and everybody kind of led him to this Congressman Ryan, because apparently this guy was the real deal. This guy, he was the man. So when he wanted to figure out, he was like an undercover boss. So when he was trying to figure out what was going wrong with this prison system back where he was, I forget, is it Kentucky, or I forget where the fuck he was anyways. I'm sorry, I am the worst. But he went undercover in the prison to figure out where the corruption was and what was going on. So he was put himself as an inmate in there.
That's badass.
And he'd done this so he was absolutely, like, this guy stood on business every fucking time. And there was other cases where he was trying to figure out corruption in different kind of government entities, and he would put himself right in the firing line in there, and he didn't give a solitary fuck. So when people said, listen, you've got to look into this cult, this Jim Jones cult down in Jonestown, he's abusing people, he's abusing his power, there's children that are getting like beaten. And again, we haven't gone into it, but like, the kids there got the shit kicked out of them. Even some adults did. Like, Jim Jones made, like, he kind of had fight clubs, whereas if anybody pissed him off, he'd make them fist fight each other. And sometimes, like, he'd have this little coliseum for himself where he'd have 5 people versus one guy.
Django Unchained.
Yes, like, exactly. He'd have guys, a bit racist, Dani, because they were all black, but it was a fact that, like,
they weren't all.
Well, most of the guys he was doing this to were black. Again, no black people in his inner circle, all white people. Again, just so we're clear on this one, he was using the black people, using disabled people
Mm-hmm.
and using old people for money, for labor, for all this kind of stuff. But again, he was gone absolutely fucking haywire at this stage. He was stealing children and keeping them as his own. And this that unraveled. So this Stone guy went to Ryan, Congressman Ryan, and he told him. Congressman Ryan got in contact with some journalists, and that's when they said, we've got to go down there to Jonestown and see what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And again,
We
sorry
got to
to
see
have,
what.
like,
Yeah.
sorry to have gone deeper with this one, but again, I think this family Stone, they are they're like this whole thing is kind of the unraveling of the whole thing. This one kid who,
Yes.
if they
Yep.
just let him go home or kept that guy Tim Stone there, that none of this would have happened. So I kind of think this is kind of a big piece of the puzzle there as well.
For sure. So while Leo was there, then everybody was kind of on their best behavior. It's like, oh, we love it here. It's great. We love fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We love rice. Like, what's not to love? And everyone was kind of just singing its praises. But as Leo
they were
was
literally
leaving,
putting on a show. So when they got down there, they put on an actual concert.
Again, like very North Korean.
Yes. Everyone was singing and dancing and kumbaya again. Yeah.
Yep. And then as Leo was leaving, they were like, no, fucking take us with you, please. Like, and they were just telling him everything. They were like, it's horrible here. It's fucking like awful. Basically just shouting everything at him as he was leaving. And then as they headed to the airstrip, Jim's security team, who he called the Red Brigade, followed them. And because he did try to smuggle out a couple people with him.
He did. He had a couple of people in the car with him, yeah.
Yeah, and they opened fire, killing the congressman, 3 members of the press, and 1 defecting church member.
So just like as a parallel to 2025 and 2026, there are several congressmen and congresswomen who have tried to go to ICE detention centers to get in to document what's going on, and they're trying to use their position as a congressperson, just like Leo Ryan did. And ICE are keeping them out. They're preventing them from going in, which is illegal. Like, Congress people have a legal right to enter facilities like this so that they can see if there are human rights crimes being committed. And ICE are stopping them from going in. So, like, you have this guy, Leo Ryan, is a rock star. Like, he's such an inspiration. And, like, people in 25 and 26 are trying to emulate what he did.
Leo the Lion Ryan is what they call him.
Jim knew that the US military would come for him after a fucking congressman was murdered. And he called a final meeting and told people that soldiers were coming to take the children and slaughter the seniors. And that's how you get people, right? Kids and old people. That's how you fucking get people. I do want to say this before he actually did the whole Kool-Aid thing. He had done this before, right? He had wheeled out a vat of...
Yes, I was going to get into that, yeah.
Yeah, of basically, like, fucking poison. And explained, it's going to be a peaceful death. There's going to be no pain. You have to drink it and you'll wake up in heaven. Like, if you believe, whatever. And people all believed him. And then they drank it. And then obviously nothing happened. And he was like, you didn't drink anything. That was a test. And everyone was like, of course he would test us. Bravo, like, amazing. Like, yeah, that's what God would do.
It's just the most drugged up thing ever. It's like, I'm going to do a test run. I'm going to see if they believe me. And if they don't, I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that all of this, the kind of test runs on you're drinking poison, or a potion is what they call it. All these test runs was to lead up to, like, they won't know whether they are or they aren't. Because, like, the first time he did it was when they were back in America. And it was very unusual because he wouldn't let them drink. Obviously, to drink alcohol, like, you let your inhibitions go and stuff like that. So to control them, he wasn't allowing them to drink alcohol. But then there was one night where he was saying they're having a celebration, and that everybody, because he was after making some kind of a deal with a politician back in California, and he said, time for a celebration. So he had his inner circle and a bunch of people in one big room where he was like, we're going to celebrate tonight, we're drinking. And everybody was so fucking happy. They were like, yes. And they all got very merry and they all were knocking back the drink. And then he got very somber and very serious and said, listen up. Everybody went silent. The man was talking. He said, you've all been poisoned. I've put cyanide in the drinks, he said, and within the next hour, we're all going to be dead. So that was the first time, like, and he sat there for, like, I think people said it was a couple of hours. And then, like, he had some of his inner circle at that stage. He had them pretend that they were feeling sick, and, you know, like, they were putting on
like these nerds acting it out.
Exactly. And apparently some of them are very bad at the acting. Someone ran for the door and they were stopped by his guards at the time. He wasn't calling them the Red Brigade at the time, but his guards stopped them and said, no, you have to take this with dignity. And everybody in there was afraid they were dying now. And after about an hour, he stood up and went, "Gotcha, bitches." No, he was like, he was like, that was a test, just to see how would you die with dignity. He kept calling this the way they were going to die. What was they call this? Revolutionary suicide, which he had kind of stolen off the Black Panthers. So the Black Panthers, and he stole it and used it in a totally different way.
Not a fucking original, not an original thought or anything in his head. Like, just a fucking fraud. Just literally, like, just a fucking fraud of a man, like, through and through, in regards to, like, ideas.
Yeah, so the Black Panthers, the way they would use it was like that. You have to fight for your cause, and you might die.
Yeah.
So that's what revolutionary suicide is. We're going to fight, and if you fight and you die for your cause, that's a revolutionary suicide. But Jim Jones kept using it to be like, revolutionary suicide is that we're all going to kill ourselves, because that's, you know,
it was like, it was an emotive anybody comes kind of us, term for all of them.
Exactly. And so this is where I was saying earlier on about, he gets very, if you take away my toys, I'm going to hold my breath, because the suicide thing now becomes the threat all the time. So, like, as you said, Dani, he was already tricking them. Like, the first time that I was explaining was just one time of many where he actually got them to sit down and drink and ingest a drink where he was telling them it was laced with poison, just so he could condition them to see. And every time he was saying, "Ha, that's it's not real," they got conditioned a little bit more and more to realize
a little bit.
Yeah. So okay. So every time I drink this, it could be
mandatory
real or it might
testing.
Not be real. Yes. Yeah. So again, when we get to the point of he's going to make them actually drink this, do some of them think that this is just another test? I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Because and we'll get to that, because, like, again, 909 people died here after drinking that. So they, like, I mean, I think the ones who, anyway, right, we'll get to it. So he told them that it was time to drink the potion, which was Flavor-Aid, not Kool-Aid. Fun fact, Kool-Aid was too expensive.
The biggest lie of them all.
Flavor-Aid was the like the fucking Aldi equivalent. Or is it, what was the
guy
Coke
used to jump through the wall and go, "Oh no."
Oh no.
Oh, maybe. No. What was the Coke back in the day that we had growing up in Ireland? Is it
Cadet?
Capicola? Cadet? Yeah. Basically, it was Cadet. It wasn't Coca-Cola. It was Cadet Cola.
They brought it back.
Did they?
Yeah, they brought it back, and, like, people are making a big deal about it like that. It's like, it's our childhood is back.
I would drink the fuck out of a Cadet right now. So anyway, he called it a revolutionary act. Wait, completely skipped that. This potion had cyanide. It was just Cadet Cola, guys. It's fine. People were crying. Some were begging to be let go, but the security team with guns made sure that they stayed. And they basically held guns to their heads and made them drink. Which, it's like, you're gonna die either way. I'll just take the gun. It's fine. It was all caught on a 45-minute death tape that is honestly the most horrifying thing you'll ever hear. Now, you can find this online. This is very easily found online. If you're like me, go have a look. If you can't stomach it, don't do that to yourself. It is very...
it's
fucked up.
Very tough listen. Yeah. Like, you know, because the thing is, I think even though he had been testing them and he had done all these, like, dry runs, I think a lot of the people, like, I think they knew what was like something bad was definitely happening, because they had just seen, okay, a congressman has come down here. That's bad. He then tried to get out of here really quickly with a bunch of people. That's bad. And they've killed that guy. That's really bad. And now he's like, oh, look, the American military are coming for us and they're going to gun us down. So we're going to take control. We're going to drink our cyanide flavor aid. And, you know, like, I would imagine a lot of them were just in a total panic, because they were like, fuck, we're going to get killed either way here. Yeah. This is real now. And so a lot of them were begging for their lives. They were like, you know, trying to make deals. They were trying to get out of there. And he would not let them. He was like, no, this is going one way. Yeah. And so they some of them had to be force fed it as well. Like, you know, it was really grim.
But there's the like one woman, Miller. I forget her first name again. I'm Christine, something like that. But she stands up and is like, "What about Russia?" And you can hear like the on the tape. There's they have the discussion of like why not, and then but you can hear the people end up booing her, like off, like boo, let us die, like, you know, it's kind of it's really weird.
His
like,
followers are like,
so so like
it's
more
really
kind of
strange.
he gets a little bit agitated by this woman. So like it's like he says, you've always been someone who has questioned me, and you know, he goes, I really like that you're an agitator. You know, the way he was talking was kind of he always spun it like, and even back to this, he was gaslighting her and the people, like, and so she
and
was
this
saying,
is why
like,
I love you, and she's like, oh, you love me, like, it's like, he was just fucking
like, but again,
worst.
like he was using like this backhanded compliment to her, to like, you know, but he was still like nodding to the people about like this.
He was
bitch.
still manipulating.
Can you hear
her.
this bitch?
Yeah.
So like he got people on board to kind of to hush her, even though what she was saying was the most logical thing. She said, "You've got a plane." Yeah. You've got the plane. Yeah. You said we have a code word to get us to Russia. You've got hundreds of children. She said, why not just the children? He goes, the children are the ones they're gonna use. The children are the ones that are most at risk here. And he goes, I did have Russia. He goes, if it was as simple as that, you know I'd have us. We'd all be in Russia right now if it was as simple as that. But it's too late for Russia. They've gone, and the way he explained it as well, someone has gone and killed that congressman. I did not tell them to do it. It is not under my orders, but somebody has gone and done it, and now we must pay the price. And the way he doesn't take culpability for anything, so that he's still kind of telling the audience, just follow me. And this woman ends up getting like booed off fucking stage, and she ends up having to sit down. And like, these are people that have children that like they're booing this woman so that they can go and kill their children and then themselves.
And her argument is just let the kids go. Like, it's mental that they're
sounds so logical.
blinded.
It's where I'm listening to this woman. I'm like, how did you end up in this fucking cult? Because you seem to like have a brain. Like,
I mean, a lot of people who tend to wind up in cults just don't have anything else, like anything going for them, and it is just, even just for a second, the sense of having that community is what pulls them into it.
That's what pulls them in,
And it's the loneliness. Like, she could have just been someone who had nothing, like maybe a logical person, but still.
I think she was actually a fairly successful woman, I think. Like, so like, I think for her it was the ideals. So like, she was like, she believed in the cause. She believed in the socialist, this community of integrated socialists, and she really did believe in the cause. But she was obviously pushing back against Jim Jones as much as possible, because he was like exasperated by the end when he's like, can't we just kill ourselves without you arguing with me one more time? You know, just the way he was talking about it, like it was kind of like he was just fed up of this bitch.
Baby Billy. He just sounded exactly like Baby Billy.
To be honest with you, he does kind of sound like that. But like
Come on, yeah, just
it's
being a pain in my ass. Yeah.
but it is kind of fucked up the way he's still like gaslighting to the end. But like as you were saying now, like you've got these death tapes, and the way he's talking, and he's saying like, "Come on now, die with some dignity." But this fucker isn't drinking, by the way. Just so we're all clear on this, he doesn't drink this fucking juice. So he's telling people, he's telling people to first the kids. It's like an airplane emergency. You have to look after the kids first, and then yourselves. So there was parents injecting cyanide-laced Flavor Aid into their kids' mouths by syringe, because and then when you can hear him saying on the death tape as well. Again, I didn't listen to all this fucking death tape, but like there was points where it was showing the stuff that he was saying, like, and he was saying things like, the children, they're not in any pain. It's just very bitter. The drink is just a very bitter drink, and he was kind of making an excuse for these kids.
He likened it to like taking medicine.
That's exactly what it was.
But cyanide is such a horrible death as well. Which again, we can get into was all of this cyanide, because like this is one of those things where like it constricts your muscles, and so you writhe in pain until you die. But again, this was kind of a cocktail of like a bunch of not Valiums, but whatever the equivalent of what back then was. That was like muscle relaxers, pain relievers, sedatives basically, and cyanide as well. But it's sorry, go on. I keep fucking
no, you're fine.
Digging deep.
Let me just get this last little paragraph out of the way, and then we'll go back to everything. So just basically, when the troops arrived, they found 909 bodies. The government eventually found over $7 million hidden in Jim's secret bank accounts. So just out of curiosity, give me a second. I just want to see what $7 million
in today's money.
In today's money.
Oh, let me guess. 900 million.
We'll see.
I'm going to say it's probably like 20 million.
70s. No way. It's more. Has to be more. Might not be 900.
What are we saying?
I'm saying 900
I'm going to say $25 million.
All right, Oisin, you're way closer than Justy. Approximately between 37.96 million to 38 million.
Is that all?
That's an insane amount of money. Like no, but it's an insane amount of money for like he would bring just like average people in. Like he didn't have like super rich people. He just had a lot of like normal people with normal jobs.
So again,
and he still managed to get all that money out.
So that's another question as well, as how is he getting all this money? If it can't all be true, like the social security checks of these old people, because he doesn't have that many. You know what I mean? He has a few, but he doesn't have that many. So like the question is then, does he go into drug dealing? Is there gun running? He has a bunch of guns himself, but like, did he have extracurricular activities?
Was there some classic South American crime happening as well?
Well, basically, it's South America. You have to question.
Yeah.
You have to question.
I do, just while we're on the subject of money, I mentioned this last week. I've been rewatching The Crown lately, and in 1952 when. Yeah, I am. But in 1952, when King George was it King George that abdicated? Whatever, the king who abdicated, he still would have gotten his like royal pension, right? And they talk about it in the show, which was £10,000 a year.
George is Elizabeth II's Oulad, yeah?
And then his brother fucked that actress. That we could do a whole fucking episode on that, but he was fucking this actress who was involved with the Nazis. All this fucking these photographs came out, all these forms that he was affiliated with the Nazi party.
Maybe I should watch this fucking Tan show.
It's such a good show. But anyway, so he was receiving like a £10,000 pension, and I was kind of like, what is like, because £10,000 a year is not a lot, like, and then I was like, what is that in today's money? So in 1952, £10,000 in today's money, that's £373,000, £373,490 65 pence today a
It's a lot
year
of moolah.
that he was still getting.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he was like the former fucking king of a country, so maybe it's not a lot in that sense.
That's
but
a
still,
doctor's
to
wage
basically
now,
be
really,
like,
isn't it?
I mean, to basically be like, all right, here, just take this and go away. And then obviously the cost of living in 1952 is like low as fuck.
But
So
also,
to
like,
get-
he
That's
was
true,
he was
yeah.
the king. He did not have a cost of living.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
he had,
that's
he had
true.
That was
no
that was
overheads.
throwaway money
That
for
is
him.
true.
Yeah.
But like for him to have to move, and then I guess he's paying everything then off that 10 grand, and he wanted like an increase in it. Anyway, let's go back to this. So watch the show. So 7 million in hidden bank accounts. This was money he had taken from his followers while they were eating a single cookie for dinner. And he just had all this fucking money lying around. He could have easily fed the compound 10 times over and didn't. It remains one of the greatest losses of American civilian life in history. Jim started as a kid who just wanted to be loved and ended as a monster who couldn't let anyone else live if he couldn't be loved.
So it remains one of the greatest losses of American civilian life in history.
Yeah.
What
Only
was
surpassed
the
by
next?
September the 11th, 2001.
Yes, that was
Yes.
it. I was going to say, what was the next biggest one?
Bingo!
Yeah, I can
Ding,
see
ding,
one.
ding, ding. Yeah, it's always 9/11. The answer
It's
is always 9/11.
Always not. But it's kind of like even
And the
just
CIA
hard
did both.
to... Yeah.
Exactly. Also, we kind of briefly touched on this. Jim Jones got everyone to drink the poison Flavor-Aid. How did he die?
It was like he took
Yeah.
drugs, I think. He just
No.
OD'd.
Oh, it was a
didn't he?
gunshot wound.
He
No.
shot himself in the head,
Or
and
did
he was sitting.
I was going to say
on-
that, but
Well, someone shot him in the head, but he
Mhm.
was sitting in his chair on like his pulpit in the center of like the pavilion that they
I
had
hate
built.
that word.
But like he like this thing of like everyone was dying around him, and he sat there amongst his flock and blew his brains out while he made them do something which is like a harder and longer death. And he's a piece of shit for a lot of reasons, but like what a piece of shit move that is. It's like, oh
Yeah.
I get an instant the
I'll
fucking
go
lights are off,
straight away. Yeah.
but you guys have to fucking suffer.
Yeah. I always like wonder like what are the symptoms? Because as someone who like has IBS and is regularly dying on a toilet, and I'm like, it can't be worse than this. Surely
Yeah, I haven't
this
had
is
a
what
solid
this
shite
is
since
the height of
2003,
what
so
it
like,
It's just like stabbing pain, muscle spasms, your
I
throat
get all of
closes
that.
over. Like it's like with these ones that affect like the nervous system and like blood flow, like it's a constriction of blood vessels depending on what the poison is. And like if your blood vessels, like I used to get migraines, and like if the blood vessels in your brain constrict
Yeah, they're
and the blood
awful.
flow is not good, like the type of migraine that I used to get, I would go blind. And it would be, I would feel it in I'd feel it in the base of my skull first, and it would be just this like searing hot pain. And a doctor told me it's the blood vessels constricting, and then
yeah.
I would get these big like grey lines across my vision, which would then spread
It
out,
is terrifying.
and then I would go blind. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to see, and I would just be in absolute agony for several hours.
Do you ever think, because like I get it now, it's all mostly like the front and behind my eyes, so my eyes just, I can't open them, like they fucking kill. I can open them and I don't have lines or anything like that, but I have to be in like complete black. I have like these weighted frozen eye masks and stuff, and I've been getting like Botox just at the sides. That helps because it like the muscle just freezes
that's why you
anyway.
get
It can't,
Botox.
whatever.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well,
Sure.
Yeah.
no,
yeah.
it helps is all I'll say. I wouldn't say the reason I'm getting it, but it has helped, like, I guess, like, alleviate the symptoms a little bit. But yeah, it is like and I always like feel like people who don't have sympathy for someone with a migraine have never had a migraine because it is fucking awful.
Yeah,
So I could see that being a bad part of it. Like,
I've never had a migraine. I know I've never had a migraine for the simple fact that like I've had headaches, but my mother used to have migraine. She had something called TMJ syndrome, temporomandibular joint syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, where her jaw
My
is
friend
kind of
Michelle has that.
yeah, so it's kind of her jaw was
Yeah.
like separating from her head slowly.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
she was misdiagnosed like a bunch of times by our doctor down here who turns out he got fucking disbarred from being a doctor for giving like underage people a bunch of drugs. But anyways, that was a totally different point. Bad doctor. But
Love that.
but my mother went through like migraines and got told for years that like you know was just like the doctor thought she was faking so that she could get off work like and was just giving her certs because he was like, that's my job as a doctor, to give certs, not to give medication. So
they still do that today.
Yeah, so she went and seen a specialist, and then it turns out that for years her jaw was separating from her head, and
Jesus.
yeah, that she was getting those migraines. So like I do know what it's like to be around, but I've never known to experiencing it. So like I the reason why I know, because like I've had some people say like, oh, I have a migraine. It's like, you don't have a migraine, you have a headache.
No,
because
you're not standing and complaining about it if you have it.
I've seen what a migraine is.
I always
like,
see people posting about it and they're like, oh, I'm out with a migraine. It's like, you're posting on your fucking story. That light would actually fucking kill you from your phone if you had a migraine.
The only thing that used to like fix a migraine is like I'd have to go to a doctor and get an injection of a muscle relaxant.
Yeah.
And like it was, you know, I'd get the injection and then within like 5 minutes, all the pain would go away. And it would just, like, honestly, there was one time it felt like I was having like a cold shower. That's the way my body reacted to it. It was like
your head feels like
orgasmic
it goes
almost
down in size as well, because it's just like everything is so like, and then like that's half the reason I bought an ice machine as well, is just for the fucking migraines. Just it's always on, so I can wrap it up and just fucking have it.
And do you know how Jim Jones cured his migraines?
Shooting himself in the head
with a revolver.
So this is the thing I was going to get into here. So here's when we get a little bit conspiratorial with it. So like again, I've consumed so much Jonestown this week. One of them actually, have you heard of an Irish podcast called Those Conspiracy Guys?
No, actually.
Well, 2015, I found it on Spotify. They did it in 2015. It's 4.5 hours long of a podcast. And it turns out that one of my friends is on the podcast. He was an old wrestler named Stephen Elliott. And he's a stand-up comedian now. And I was listening to it going, I know that fucking Blanchardstown accent.
I know that voice.
I was like, what was that? So I contacted him. I said, am I listening to you talk about Jonestown from like 10 years ago? And he was like, yeah, that's me. It's like, it's like, you're doing a pretty good job. I have to do it myself. And I'm not doing a very good job. Steve, on Those Conspiracy Guys from 15 years ago, they probably don't need your listenership, but if you want to learn more about Jonestown and have 4.5 hours to spare, they go down the route
a lot
to
more
conspiracies.
Detail.
Yeah, oh my God, the detail these guys go into. They do spend a good 45 minutes on him being a monkey salesman, though. So,
that's incredible.
Love that, and I genuinely, just makes me like him more.
But anyways, so like to get into like the big one here is what we're talking about is that Jones has the gunshot wound, so he shot himself in the head, or did he? So like
did the CIA get to him?
Well. Again, it might not be as easy as like CIA got him or whatever. It might just be that one of his followers was like writhing in pain, going, "Why aren't you dying?" And then went, "Fuck you," and shot him in the head.
You can see that.
Son of a bitch. Yeah.
Because the gun was found kind of a little, so like he could have shot himself and the gun could have flew away, and like, but it was found like a good bit away from him. So the idea is he either shot at the recoil, sent the gun flying, and he slumped back down into his chair, or that he said it himself. So there is the tapes out there. Like again, a lot of these tapes are done. There's years worth of these tapes. A lot of them were lost because they were recorded over and stuff. And that's why the actual death tapes sound so creepy with like music in the background and stuff, because it's all recorded over like a bunch of different fucking of his.
You can hear voices and everything.
So they're his white night tapes mostly. So And again, we can go into the white knight thing. That's another whole fucking thing of how he fucked people up. But like, he'd wake people up in the middle of the night and be like, they're coming. Fucking get ready to kill yourself or get ready to run or do whatever. And like, so he had people always in this constant state of fear. But he never planned on him dying. So when all of this kind of came down to it, like, he was like, I must live on so that, you know, like, so
he could start again. I think that's what he had in mind, that he was just going to like start over.
But the whole thing was like that. He was like, the fear mongering he had in them was that the kids. It was always going to be the kids. When they catch the kids, the stuff that they're going to do to the kids, which is funny because he was horrible to the children. Like, he was, you know, he fucking beat the shit out of them, and
did not care for the kids.
High-ranking members like they all beat the shit out of the kids too as well. It was very you know, they were horrible towards the kids.
It was abusive from top to bottom. Like, yeah.
But then he always used that as like, we have to protect the kids, but just not from ourselves. But again, there's massive kind of like, if we go into these fucking down the rabbit hole of these conspiracies, CIA again is this big one. MK Ultra, again is was he a part of MK Ultra, or were they using this as a testing ground to see if they could make a community docile? So like, they were doing it like individually with people, so like either making sleeper agents or mind control or whatever, or seeing if they could like make a whole nation docile by you know, giving them low dosages of LSD and stuff like that. Trying out all these different drugs on people and how they affect them. So there is the conspiracy. Was Jonestown a CIA experiment? Now, again, when I mentioned earlier on, when there was this great medical facility there, and it's unclear whether the people built it or whether it was already there, but like, it seemed like it was a little bit too advanced. So like,
like, why was it in this jungle?
Exactly. So the idea is like, is this just a place that the CIA told Jones to bring his people there, and then they were going to see what they could do by, you know, dosing these people and seeing if they could make them compliant. The order of the day was compliance. When you have a fucking nation that you're now experimenting on groups of people. Again, I'm not saying any of this is true. I'm just saying this is a conspiracy that were the CIA using the Jonestown people as guinea pigs for compliancy to see how far they'd get. In the end, if we tell you to kill yourselves, would they all kill themselves?
Or will they revolt as a collective?
Exactly. So it's to see how docile the people can be made. Then there's the we go a little bit further down the conspiracy, and we get Leo the Lion Ryan, who the CIA want rid of because he's getting too. He's trying to investigate the CIA. He's been to Langley.
Yeah,
he's in there saying like, here, what practices are the CIA doing here? He apparently wanted to know what the deal was with MK Ultra. So like, it was like what we're seeing today with the ice, what you were saying. So like, he was to a point so deep in the fucking weeds with what the CIA were doing that they needed him gone. Also,
he was too close.
Yes. You've also got journalists here. Now, here's where it gets another fucking layer. One of the journalists that was there, like, there's guys from like multiple places. I think ABC News were recording the whole thing. But one of the journalists that was there that was very interested in this thing was also someone who was investigating Martin Luther King and JFK. So he was looking into the timeline here would have been very close to JFK, if I'm not mistaken. So what was this, 75 here? Or 70?
77.
77,
sorry.
Yeah.
So, and JFK was 73?
68.
Oh, 68, yeah, sorry. It was...
Yeah.
Because they went to the moon 69. That was the year after. Yeah. So like this guy, and then Martin Luther King.
Oh no, 63. It was 63. What am I saying?
Was it? It was 60 or 63 was JFK.
He was shot in 63.
63, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Why am I saying 69 is the year after? Oh, because that's when. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The moon landing thing is a totally different conspiracy. So the guy who one of these investigative reporters was someone who was looking into the likes of Martin Luther King and the JFK stuff, and he was kind of getting a little bit too close for comfort, apparently. Now, again, just a conspiracy. So the CIA, did they orchestrate this trip for these guys to come down? Now, again, more conspiratorial is the fact that did all these people actually drink this? Now, again, 100%, we're going to call this murder across the board, okay? So Jim Jones murdered all these people, no matter what. Like, if it is what they say it is, and he convinced them to commit suicide, he murdered all these people. So, like, that's why it's a massacre. That's why I at the start of it, I said it's a massacre. But there also is the conspiracy that what if these people weren't as compliant as is suggested, and that they were all actually, like, a lot of them did drink the fucking Kool-Aid, but the non-compliant people were actually all murdered. And there is, again, 100% conspiracy on this one, but a lot of puncture wounds on people between, like, the shoulder blades in the back, like, you know, where you couldn't,
so they're just injecting them directly with poison.
Yes. So basically just being injected with poison in between the shoulder blades, in the back of the neck. And that's how, like, when they talk about the people came first to count the bodies. I think they said there was like 400 bodies, and then the number just kept going up. And the excuse they used for this was because people were all on top of one another. So, like, again, the excuse that they were using was, okay, a parent saw the child died, took the poison, died on top of the child, and, you know, there was men. So there was, again, so they couldn't see the vast amount of people because a lot of people were covering other people. But there is the kind of reports that it looked like bodies were dragged into positions, and it, like, also looked a little bit like too convenient that these people were all so peaceful, when in fact cyanide, as we were talking about, is a very painful death. So again, what were the, like, okay, we could say that the Prozac and the kind of whatever other drugs that they had in this concoction could have kind of mellowed everybody out, and it didn't give them what they call the cyanide grin. So basically when
the grimace,
you get constricted, all your muscles constrict up, including your mouth. So you have this Joker's grin, and none of the people had that. But they also, the Guyanese government, they did like 7 autopsies out of 909 people. There was only like 7 autopsies done. Excuse they gave for this one was because they were in the jungle, it was getting very hot, and that the bodies were now
decomposing too fast.
They were very fast. Again, there was pictures taken, and there was pictures taken, and there's Green Berets and SAS people. So British and American guys were there very fast, by the way. So, like, conveniently fast. Like, how were they in this same jungle? And you could say the SAS because it was an ex-British territory. Guyana at the time did get their freedom, but of course there would be still British military bases left there. And of course, if there's a British military base, there's normally an American British or military base on places as well. Like, that's just how it goes.
The US military would just be hanging around in South America in the 70s. Like, they would. Like, they were just everywhere.
Venezuela's somewhere that they were actually fairly interested in anyways. But again, the conspiracy head, if we stick on our tinfoil hat, they were there very fast. But some of the pictures that were taken were of these guys in gas masks. Now, the excuses they're giving for the gas masks is, okay, they're in the jungle,
Yeah.
it's very hot, and these bodies are decomposing. So they're doing it because there's a smell. It's pretty dodgy out there. But again, our tinfoil hats are on. So were people gassed en masse is another one. So did they actually all kill themselves? Or was there kind of, okay, guys, we need to get the rest of these people? Now, you have to understand, there's 918 people here. 9 people, I think, got out, which is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. To be like such a small number of survivors and to see like 900 people die
in almost 1,000 people. Yeah,
like, that's just gonna fuck you up.
So there's like the stories of some of the people that got out. There was one elderly woman who slept through the whole lot. So she was like infirm. So like she woke up, looked out, and everybody's dead.
Oh no.
There was one guy who was fairly high up that he left, and the guys who were tasked at shooting people if they ran, he was above their pay grade. So he said, I'm going to tell the story. This is my job. So the way he got out was, he said, Jim Jones told me that I had to tell the story of what happened here today. And I had to bring the tapes or whatever. Now, he wasn't leaving with tapes, but he fled. There was a couple of guys who were close to the jungle, and they kept going, I want to die with, let's say, Jimmy John. Jimmy John's the person I want to die with. And they kept just kind of going and saying, oh, Jimmy John's down here, I'm going to get to it. And eventually they got into the jungle and just fled. And so they were able to lie their way through the people and be like, I'm getting here. I'm going to die over here. I'm going to die over here. I'm going to die. And eventually there wasn't anybody else left for them to have to lie to, and they fled. They got out of there.
Yeah.
So there was a few people that got out. A couple of people were able to lie very still for like a day and not like just hope, you know what I mean? So the stench of death around them. But like they got up. One of the guys was I think there was a couple of teenage guys that ended up doing that. They ended up being like, what the fuck did we get ourselves into? And they were like, we're definitely not killing ourselves. So like a bunch of people did get out. There was also people that were kind of still there. They came out and went, oh fuck. And they had there was like a couple of women that were like, oh, we missed it. So they stabbed their kids to death and then slit each other's throats and died. Yeah, so it was so grim. But again, to get into the conspiracy side of things, was that the questions that are asked were, did all these people actually take this this drink? Like out of 918 people, 909 people were dead. So did all these people drink it up? Now, a lot of the kids would have been forced to drink. So like, and there was a lot of kids. It was like 300 kids. So like, we can rule them out that if true, people did force the kids to drink. And then obviously parents would have been like, okay, now I definitely can't live with myself. And they would have fucking killed themselves.
Just to say as well, it was toddlers and babies. Like it was very, very young children among those 300 as well. Which is just, I don't know how you ever could.
It's so graphically to think about.
I don't know how you ever could live with yourself for doing that. Like you'd have to be gone straight away. Like if you did do anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
The mindset here. So like again, the question is, could you do that? Could you just kill your kid? Now again, we're all looking around, and if people are standing with guns and saying you better fucking poison your kid or we're going to shoot you, like is that what happened? Or again, was it?
Is it we'll just shoot the kid if you don't feed the kid the poison? Like, did they think like is it going to be better to just poison the kid than to have the kid be fucking shot in front of me? Like,
I
is
think
that
that's
like another?
I think that's what they were. That's kind of the line that we're supposed to like believe, like that. Like, well, for the most
It's
part, it was all
kindness.
compliant. For the most part, what we're hearing is
Yeah.
everybody just went along with it. But then there was people who
Yeah.
obviously questioned it, like this woman Miller and a few people, and that they were encouraged. Like you can hear on the death tapes where he's like, "Come on now, die with dignity," and he's like,
But Miller,
It's
telling them
such
to
a
stop crying
weird
and
way to phrase it. Yeah.
yeah. Just to, I don't know if you went into this or not, but did Miller have kids herself? I don't think she did.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's what the deal was there.
Yeah, and I just think she was sounds like one of the only ones that had fucking common sense.
Well, she had to
Like,
give up. Like
at the time.
the masses kind of said, "Shut the fuck up and sit down. We're all killing ourselves." Like, but again, like, could she be the only dissenter in it? Could she be the only person there out of 900 people that think this isn't a good idea? So, like, are you just going along with all of this because you believe in this one guy, or because if I don't drink this, I'm going to look like a fool because everybody else is drinking it? You know, like, can peer pressure get you to do that? So that's, again, the question is, did the CIA have something to do with this in a way that either on one side made everybody more compliant? Like, was there an MK Ultra element to this? Or did they all come after the fact and drop fucking gas and kill everybody outright?
And make sure everyone was dead, like double tapped him.
Exactly, a double tap situation.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's
so
and then
a lot
again,
to
there's so much, like it's a lot of shit in this. Like, we could, again, there's an episode on what happened, and then there's an episode on what do we think happened.
The theory.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could do that down the line, because I think I want to do like Oisin's doing his "What the fuck is wrong with America" series.
I don't think we should do it down the line. I think it's good enough to leave it here, but like we can leave it open to people to interpret what they want. Like we've given the information here, guys. What happened is a terrible thing. A bunch of people followed a man into the jungle, and everybody ended up dead. Now, if you want to believe what is said, that's one thing. If you're interested in kind of going down the conspiracy route, guys, follow up, because you will go down some rabbit holes, and I'll meet you down there. It's there's a lot.
He'll be there waiting. He'll have a delicious, refreshing drink to share with you.
Yeah.
Cadet Cola, the sponsor of today's episode.
Yeah. But yeah, like
anyway.
I could, again, I'm sorry for, like, I know I've gone off on so many tangents on this.
No, not at all.
There's so many rat roads on this that you could just kind of follow to fucking crazy town. Like, again, like I said, there's like, you've got Martin Luther King and JFK ties, you've got CIA, you've got Russia, you've got so many different kind of like angles.
The Kennedys.
Because of the time that it was happening, when you think about, like, it's the CIA, it's MK Ultra, it's the Cold War, it's assassination after assassination. There's a shitload of cults happening.
It's just layer upon layer.
Yes, and like everything can kind of join in. If you want to kind of, mash these kind of stories all in together, they will fit somewhere. Like, there is a puzzle that all these pieces will fit into. And we think now that we're living in the craziest time. And there is an argument to be made, because it is fucked up out there, especially now as we sit here and we're thinking about ICE and the Epstein files and fucking Greenland and like China, Russia, all these different things that are happening in the world right now. But I would put it out to you that the late 60s, early 70s, that was a crazy fucking time.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Man. Like, the amount of shit that went on.
Yeah.
Sweet. I think we've given a lot of people some good food for thought at the end.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a lot of layers to follow up. Some Kool-Aid for thought.
Nice.
Yeah, and like there's like, as usual, we talked about like future episodes that we'll do. Like, I have like, I want to do an episode on the CIA, but again, it'll just have to be like skimming the surface and being like, here's a book I read, you guys go read this book, and there's just layer upon layer of different things. Like I want to do evangelists and televangelists as their own thing as well.
Just the righteous gemstones.
It'll just be me as Baby Billy, like just
I'll be
wearing
Judy.
a white wig. So yeah, I think that was pretty good for what 2.5 hours.
More than that.
2.5 hours of a story.
Almost 3.
Yeah, we could do this forever. Like
Yeah. And it could be a fucking 3-parter because, as I said, the notes that I had were 14 pages long, and even then I didn't have everything on this motherfucker because he was fucking crazy. Yeah. There's not like he could have his own fucking series, but
so Justy, take us home.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to us and that our very abridged version of Jim Jones and the Jonestown Massacre. I've been Justy. He's been Oisin. She's been Dani. Thank you for hanging out with us for a spell. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.